Hello, welcome to another episode of the Average FPLers show. My name is Gareth, and I'm here with Mike and Russ.
Hello.
Hello, and on this episode, we're going to have a look at our review of the season, how we did, where we went wrong, players that we've done well for us, players that haven't done so well for us. I think we're just going to have a look at the league table at the end to see how we did on that. So let's crack on. Let's see what's up first.
What is up first?
We've got the topics that we're going to go through.
Oh yeah, so we're going to see the breakdown of our teams in statistical view now, rather than just obviously player scores. We're going to see where we possibly went wrong, what we could do better, what was a good idea, what was a bad idea, etc. And best and worst picks slots into that, really, doesn't it? And then the league prediction, I don't know if anyone heard when we started doing this originally, but we had an idea of where we thought all 20 teams would finish, and we're going to see where we ended up with that. I think the current scores of that is I've won 1 year, Russ has won 1, and Gaz is yet to win 1, isn't it? We've only been doing it a while.
I think that one of them was a draw.
It was you and someone else, wasn't it? Or was it me and someone? Oh, did me and Russ draw? Have we got 2 each then, Russ?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I don't know. We'll just start this one as the first ever one then, to make it easier.
Yeah,
we'll have a record of it.
Yeah. I feel like we have all maybe won one.
I think so. Maybe that is the point. Maybe you and Gaz drew last year's one.
Yeah, maybe. I know someone drew, but we both got like 4. But we'll start from a start.
We'll just start from 0. Whoever's won it this time, we'll find out. I think we've all got Man City at least, so it could be a nail biter.
Yeah, we all got the 1 at least.
Exactly.
So not a whitewash.
No, but I don't know whose team you've put up first to have a look and talk about and see.
Who did? I think I put me up first. So
let's have a look.
So yeah,
you can have a little chat. Tell us what you think.
So we've summarised the stats. We got this from Live FPL, the spreadsheet sent to us, and it gave us a chance to have a look at what we did. So I think we discussed it in the game week review for 38. Like, we've all exceeded our best scores, kind of things, and got our best kind of overall ranks. I had a disappointing end to the season. My last 2 game weeks were a bit rubbish, and I dropped out of the. I think I was up to around 350k, and I've dropped down drastically. I've lost I had a couple of massive red arrows, really, that's taken me below the 400k. So that's a shame. But
I mean, that was always going to happen, though, right? You were chasing points, so you were making more gambles that were slightly more, I guess, out of the box.
Yeah, although the kind of annoying thing is I kind of tried to plan for the last 8 weeks. I used the FDR thing on the FPL.
Difficulty.
Yeah, I used that to try and work out for my wild card the best kind of team to have week in, week out, and what changes to make and stuff like that. And it didn't really work out.
No, I mean, I guess the problem is with the FDR table is when you played your wild card, I'm pretty sure Fulham and West Brom still had very good chances of survival. And then within about 2 weeks, that was all settled. And then we started to get a clearer picture of some teams sort of falling away quite rapidly. And so it happened to my team as well. I mean, I picked Chelsea defenders, and it ended up being a bad choice in the end. I got on them too late for clean sheets, etc. And then, as we all say sometimes, once you get to like the last 3-4 games of the season, it just feels like some teams are already on the beach, and other teams just, giving like a good 50%, but not really worried about the result.
You can start to get some unpredictable results towards the end, although this whole year has been unpredictable, really.
Yeah, it's been a hodgepodge, hasn't it? Of just random players that are really good, bad. Some absolute superstars scores from random players that you just didn't expect, like Jesse Lingard, for example.
Yeah.
Iniacho getting 17 goals in 10 weeks or whatever it was. I mean, that's ridiculous.
A lot of the Leeds players coming up, doing really well.
Apparently, it looks like 24 green arrows is not bad.
Out of 38.
Yeah, that's two-thirds green arrows.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I guess that it's possibly because your start was quite poor.
So and then I think start of the season was very, very bad. I mean, yeah, my first game week I got like about 37, something like that.
But the two issues with that, I know the biggest issue, and you can't be faulted for it too much, was both the Manchester teams weren't playing.
Yep.
And then most players picked either between Mane or Salah. It didn't matter which one. You have to pick one and go for it and just roll the dice normally. Most people didn't want both in their opening game week team. I went Salah. You were certain Mane was going to start better because I think the statistics shows that he normally starts better.
I did. Well, it was a bit of a stupid thing. I guess I kind of tried to gamble. I knew you'd gone Salah. And I think it was a kind of case of, I'll go Mane and have a little gamble. And backfired. And then the problem was, I wildcarded game week 2, switched back to Salah, and then Mane went and scored like 2 goals. So that kind of summed it up for the start. Really.
But at least you learned your lesson pretty much at that point, right? You didn't really chop and change Mane and Salah for the rest of the season after that.
I think that did teach me a lesson of just go with your gut. Don't try and play games. Don't gamble. If you want to go Salah, you go Salah. If you want to go Mane, you go Mane. But don't go for someone because you think, the other person's going that way, so I'll go different.
No, I guess you don't really need to do something like that until closer to the end of the season.
Yeah, I only did it kind of the last game week because obviously I wanted to catch Gaz. That was the only time I went, I've got to go differential. So
yeah, and that's really all gloves are off. You know that there's quite a high target to catch, so you need something. I mean, if you'd picked 4 nails, we might have laughed at you, but you would definitely have got Gaz sweating.
Yeah.
So
it was not even on my radar. But it would be nice if it was.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones where thingy. But you had Kane most of the season, which served you great. I mean, look how many points you got from him. So you capped him in a fair amount as well.
Yeah.
I think one less than Salah in the end. I think I saw your stats. It was 11 times you captained Kane.
I mean, one of the games I didn't have him was game week 2 because Tottenham had such a bad opening game that I took him out, and that was when he went and got. He got like 4 assists.
Yeah.
So I brought him straight back in again. But
did you keep him from then?
I think so.
Russ had him for pretty much all. I think he only sold him once after that point.
I think maybe the only week I didn't have him was.
It might be the free hit. Yeah, maybe
the free hit. So probably it's probably 2 weeks I didn't have him.
Yeah, because Kane only missed 3 games all season.
Yeah.
So that would make sense.
I put Kane in the week he got injured, so I had to take him out.
I might have took him out when he got injured briefly. I can't remember now.
Did you put Vardy in for a week? I did.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, there was a week I did put Vardy in.
And he got 2, so I put Kane back in.
Yeah. Yeah, he served me well, but yeah, I've learned lessons from previous seasons with Kane that you just play him.
Yeah.
So
this season, I mean, he added like he used to get around about 5 or 6 assists normally, but the fact that he went and got 14 assists as well, he was just an all point scoring machine. And obviously, if you picked him for certain game weeks, like I triple captained him in a double, and I got 8 points. But yeah,
Me,
some people
me,
triple
and
captained him like a week later against Palace, and he got like 19, wasn't it? When he got
yeah, I mean, me and Gaz triple captained him on the other double, and it was
and you did a little better, right? You got 12 because he got injured in that one, right?
yeah, it was looking great because he scored 2 goals or something, and it was like,
Yeah,
oh
in the
wow.
first game, and then he had to miss the second one.
But then he got that injury right near the end on his
Yeah.
ankle. Who was that? Richarlison.
It was against Everton, yeah.
Yeah. They ruined it. Yeah, otherwise that could have been. I mean, that could have been.
That could have been a
epic.
monster haul.
Yeah.
I was really sweating. I mean, because he got that much. I mean, I had him in my team and captained him, so I could keep pace with you to a certain extent. But yeah, if you'd got another game out of him as the triple, like, and I imagine a lot of others tripled him as well. Yeah. So any kind of, I mean, transfers possibly could be. I mean, you didn't make them all in like vast hits. It wasn't like you made -20s. It was just the -4s, I guess, have added up.
Yeah, I think so. Constant -4s throughout the season, I think.
And some definitely worked, and others clearly have not.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I didn't do too bad with my transfers this year, and even those hits taken. But
well, no, I mean, you got 24 green arrows, right? So you clearly, some of those -4s and hits, they've worked.
Yeah. So I think most of them have gone well throughout the season. Some of them not so much, but yeah, I'd like to get that number down.
I mean, now that COVID's getting more under control, I think there's a strong possibility you will. I don't think we're going to be more worried about postponements suddenly and all of that sort of, nature that we were having, like, especially in like October, November time when some games were cancelled. But, the deadline had already passed. You probably next season will revert back to how it was 2-3 seasons ago, where we had a lot of more bench fodder. So you might only have one playing bench player, or you'll have one and then possibly one of those gem players that, it was, who was it this year? Dallas, really, I guess, would be the best one.
Dallas, Mitchell,
perhaps.
Justin.
Mitchell did lose his place for quite a long time. James Justin was an awesome one until he got a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like the year before, it was Lundstrom. So you can find someone around that sort of price.
Out of position players, yeah.
Out of position, but just cheap. So even if you don't play him, you don't feel so bad. Like a 4 million player, like Strauch for Leeds, you could have owned him most of the season. But if you got a clean sheet and he was on your bench, I don't think you'd be too disappointed because he's a £4 million player. Whereas if you bench like a £6 million player, I don't know. It has a different feel to it for some reason. You feel more disappointed in yourself. Like, why have I got that much money on the bench, and why did I bench him?
I feel like as well, a lot of players that were not expensive players did better than some players that were premiums, you could say.
Leeds overperformed massively, didn't they, really?
Like, we're going to get to mine eventually, but players in like the 4.5 million defender range probably outdid some of the other more expensive defenders. There's things like that, really. Cheaper players that just started really well and just were quite consistent throughout the season.
Yeah, I guess I don't think Leeds started well though. I'm sure they didn't.
No, I think they did. I think they did start pretty well.
Did they? I can't remember.
First game of the season was against Liverpool, weren't it? It was 5-4, weren't it?
It's 4-3. Yeah,
4-3.
That's why I guess I didn't rate them, because as much as Dallas got an assist and Bamford and Harrison scored and Cleek scored, I just thought they were going to be. I think they had a really hard run, didn't they, as well?
They had a tough start. Yeah, it was like
and that's why
Liverpool,
I wrote them off, because I'm
City.
sure they played Man City in there as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Drew Man City lost to Man.
In their second game Leeds, they beat Fulham 4-3 as well. So they'd already conceded, 7 goals in their first 2 games, and I think that's what put me off going for Dallas for the longest period.
I think when we get to the league predictions, you put Leeds quite low down.
Yes, I expected them to be around about 15th, or something like that. I mean, and that's not me writing Leeds off. I thought they'd start badly because they had a hard set of fixtures, and then I thought that would dent their morale. and then they would just struggle. And that's sometimes what happens with teams. Sheffield United last season, they started really well, and then they, catapulted right up into the top 10. But if a newly promoted team starts poorly, it used to be that they could just dip into the transfer market before the deadline day and panic buy, but you can't do that anymore. So you just usually find that the morale soaks away, and then before you know it, they're hovering around 18th, 19th, and they never really get out. So, yeah. I mean, that's a mistake on my part, I guess. I've kind of downplayed Leeds, even when I was seeing how many points you were getting with Bamford, and you sold Bamford. That's possibly a regret.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have much faith, I guess, in him either, because they're newly promoted teams, so it's not like we're being silly.
A little bit.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Bamford, yeah, was annoying because every so often he'll have that game where he doesn't do much. He gets hooked early, and you think, oh, that's not great. So you take him out, and then the following week he goes and gets 2 goals, and you're like,
Yeah, 2 goals and an assist or something like that. I'm thinking he finished the season on like 190 points. So, yeah. I mean, that's not bad for a newly promoted striker.
He was like third best striker in the whole game, I think.
That's what I'm saying. So, and bearing in mind, most people, if you listen to any kind of like pundits or experts, they wrote Bamford off. And I think that probably played on my mind as well. They were like, oh, yeah, I don't see Bamford scoring more than 7 goals. And he's like, okay. And he's finished the season on 17. So
the thing from the Championship was he gets a lot of chances, but doesn't take them all, or doesn't take enough. But he's proved everyone wrong. He's done well.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, if you believed in Leeds, you've had a stellar season, really, haven't you?
Yeah. Didn't believe enough.
What's the rank killer? Is that where a player you've had and then you've taken out, and then that's how many points he's got after you took him out? Is that what that is?
I don't know.
No, I believe rank killer is someone that obviously always every week is the one that causes you to get a red arrow.
Right.
So in Russ's case, like especially Son, if you bearing in mind Russ said he sold Kane in game week 2, you sold Son in game week 2, and then Son went and got 4 goals, wasn't it? Or 5?
Yeah.
He got 24 points.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what that means. It means, obviously, you're possibly on for a green arrow, and then that individual player cost you your rank.
There was that spree of Kane and Son just getting all the points, and even though I had Kane, I didn't want to double up.
No one did, didn't
stubbornness. Whereas some people did.
It got to a point in the end where basically it was either I have both, so I get the points, or I have neither and just feel bad about myself. And then I think I tried to go 1 week without both of them, and then they both returned, and I was just like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, and then obviously Russ, because he's had Kane most of the season, that's why it says he's superstar in terms of his points gained him better rank push or green arrows. Because Russ had it before he was even. I think Kane in the beginning of the season was poorly owned. I mean, even you sold him, but then you bought him back game week 3, right? So you probably got in front of all of the other people that bought him.
Yeah, that was purely out of frustration after seeing him get those 4 assists. I thought, that's it. He's coming back in. He's staying.
Yeah.
Whatever
everyone
happens.
else probably thought that was a flash in the pan, right? Not expecting that a couple of weeks later we'd go and beat Man United 6-1.
Yep.
So you got some huge sort of jumps there. Whereas I did the opposite. I had Son. I reaped the rewards for that Southampton game, kept him. Then Mourinho said he was going to be out for months because he had torn a hamstring. So I sold him. And then he played 5 days later and got 2 goals and an assist. And I just wanted to bash my head against a brick wall.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
It was the worst kind of mind games in the world. It was just like, is that mind games? I mean, because teams prep no matter what. Because they don't trust what anyone says. So all it really did was balls over fantasy managers, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure that was the same week that Liverpool lost 7-2 to Villa. I'm pretty sure that was the same day.
I think it was, yeah. I think Tottenham was the early game, right? And then Villa Liverpool was the late game. I think it was a Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Sunday. Yeah,
Mm.
crazy day that was.
Yeah, what a mad day.
Um,
Yeah, I've never seen a Premier League champions lose set by 7.
No. And obviously Gaz had Grealish on his bench.
yeah,
Which,
I was hoping
I'm sure we'll get to that, I guess. If
Yeah,
if you're
well,
done with yours, I don't know if you've got any more stats regarding yours.
No,
or
that's it. I
that's
mean,
it.
obviously, there's
Okay.
a spreadsheet if we needed to look at it, but
I mean, you could look at it to see where your red arrows came and if you were bad or not.
God,
You don't have to.
Oh, well, I'm doing it now. Look.
Doing it now, ain't
do
you?
Yeah.
See, so as much as you said your first couple of weeks were bad, you still got green arrows.
Yeah, true.
How did you get a green arrow and you got 32?
No.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
That's
because
bad.
what happened was, if you remember, there was 2 different ways of playing the beginning of the season. There was my way, which was I was just going to go without Man City and Man United players until about game week 4 or 5. I just made that decision. I figured I'd just transfer them in and take a hit to get 1 or 2 in. There were other players who bought them in, benched them all, and then just played a weaker team, so they got lesser points. And then there were just some other players that they picked Mane, or they picked another sort of premium player to start with. I imagine a lot of people picked Kane. Russ had him, right? You had Kane for game week 1, and he got 2 points. Yeah. Son got 2 points.
Game week 1 must have to be a green arrow because you haven't got rank yet, so you can't get a red because you can't move down from
I guess
nowhere.
It's a green arrow for everyone technically in that sense, but
it sets your position.
Yeah, so you started at 4 million place.
Yeah, because if you look at the average, 50, so I was way below the average.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then the following week, you beat the average, and then you jumped like 2 million places.
2
million places? Oh no, that's your game week rank. Sorry. So yeah, you jumped nearly a
yeah.
million
See
places.
that second score looks really good, but actually it wasn't because the players I took out, like Kane and
Got
Mane,
4 goals. Yeah.
went and really scored high, and if I'd kept my team, I probably would have got like 100 points. So
possibly. I mean, it does say that the biggest damage to your rank that week was Son.
Yeah.
So at least there's that.
Yeah, not Kane. If it was Kane, that'd be even worse. But Kane, I think, got like 22 points or something. So it's only...
was fairly good. It was fairly good. I know Son got all 3 bonus, but Kane definitely would have got 2.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can see the following week you got red arrow, and your biggest scorer was Kane that you'd literally rage transferred back in. But then Calvert-Lewin took the mantle after that and started running away with getting ridiculous amounts of points.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin hurt me. I just refused to get him in, and he just kept scoring.
At the same time, though, you were one of the rare few that I ever saw that had James Rodriguez, I think, from game week 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Possibly when you wildcarded, and
he did me well.
Awesome. 18 points you got in game week 4 for him, and that was a huge differential. I mean, his price started rocketing after that as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see, like, when you're looking at some of these stats, it feels like an eternity ago. Like, game week 6, your biggest rank gainer was Jimenez from Wolves.
I know. Yeah, he did me well for a couple of weeks, and then
he got injured.
I had him in that game where he got really badly injured.
Yeah, fractured his skull.
Yeah. So, not good. Actually, no, I think I'd taken him out that week. I think I might have actually, taken him out just before that happened. So.
But, yeah, I mean, you had quite a topsy-turvy first 12, and in game week 13 to 22, it was all green arrows.
Yeah, like I had a good middle.
That's solid. I mean, that's a solid run up to Christmas. Your free hit was successful. Your bench boost was really successful. Your bench boost gained you nearly 50% of your rank. You went from 1.8 million to 900,000.
Not bad.
That's a good jump. That's a significantly good jump. So
yeah, I think all my chips went well, apart from the first wild card. All my chips went fairly well this year. Yeah. Well, maybe the last wild card was more measured. I guess it didn't exactly pan out in the end, but yeah.
You can see also at the beginning of the season, this is where some of your hits probably were bad. Like game week 3, you took a -8. Then you took a -8 in game week 6, and then you took another -8 in game week 12, and then you took another one in game week 19. But it seems like your hits after game week 13 got a bit more measured, and you were more successful with them.
Yeah, I think
that's because you made the wild card. You and Gaz both played it for game week 2, right? Because you wanted Man United and City players, and the expectation was City and Man United were going to be really good, and they definitely wasn't. And that's what caught everyone out completely. And
it was the fact that you had those 4 teams missing as well. Like, that was annoying. Like, that kind of not everyone starting at the same time really messed it up. It was
both Manchester clubs, and it was Burnley and Villa, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, initially I was setting a team up that was going to be good for game week 2, but then somehow by the time the game week 1 came around, I'd kind of gone for a team that was more geared for game week 1. Whereas I think if I'd stuck with my original plan of less plan for game week 2, I would have done better that way as well.
You probably wouldn't have wildcarded in game week 2, I assume, as well.
No, probably not. Yeah, because I wouldn't have needed to. So
no.
Yeah. But I think one thing that's happened is, especially you can see the start, and like you said about the minuses, I think I'm learning to be less emotional with my decisions.
Yeah, clearly they were emotional, and you felt like it looks like that pattern, especially with the red O's combined, it looks like you were chasing.
Oh, yeah, massively. And because I'd used that wild card up, it was basically
you were trying to make up for the errors, and obviously I didn't factor in, like I said, both Manchester clubs did really badly. You had Calvert-Lewin come out of nowhere, and add in then Aston Villa went and become like this superstar team that kept clean sheets. There's Grealish there in game week 7. That must be the Liverpool game.
Yeah, it must be, mustn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, you can almost see where.
Oh, that one,
yeah, your panic hits were, even if you got a positive out of them, because the rest of your team had gone so lopsided, it looks there's clearly a pattern there where you've. But at least a lot of your red arrows as well, they're all sort of together. There's a cluster.
Yeah.
See, the last ones at the end of the season, you know why they are, because you were chasing again.
Lingard.
But you still got green arrows all those weeks.
Yeah.
So you can't argue that.
Bloody Lingard.
You're still getting green arrows and doing really well. But I mean, look at your top scorers. I mean, you had Mope, which no one had. Pereira as well. Let's be honest, that's why you got green arrows.
Yeah.
Pereira was the top scorer after Christmas, and none of us had him. You did. And Alisson.
But never massive.
Alisson, your top scorer.
Rodriguez, 18, I think, is the highest. Oh, no, Stones, 27.
27. That was a great week for Stones.
Yeah. But we all had him, so.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Lowton, I transferred him in at the last minute. The Lowton one was such a good pick. I was so confident on that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, looking at data like this, it's good because it gives you an idea of where you went wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean you took hits, all of your hits were bad. It just, you can see the pattern at the beginning of the season where you realise you've buggered up your wild card. And then you've tried to rectify that, and then that's gone badly as well. So then you've kept taking hits. And I'm pretty sure if we went back to an old recording, it's you just saying, I'm taking another hit again this week, because why not?
Possibly, yeah. That is, yeah.
And then obviously once you finally got a pattern, or it might even just, you got a formation that you liked, because I know that was a big thing that we were talking about, finding a formation that we thought would suit us and sticking to that for a good period. And yeah, so you had like a good season. Really, after about game week 8, you had a really good season. You had 2 clusters of reds, but the last 3 reds of the season that you got, that's just because you were chasing. I wouldn't really point that as a negative or write you off for that. That's just you were gambling, and unfortunately, your gamble didn't go well. Whereas Gaz's gambles
went well.
Yeah. So you know.
Yeah, I think overall conclusion would be bad start, good middle, slightly dipped off at the end a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that because you played the wild card early, it's bad.
No.
Normally, I play the wild card around game week 6 because you get an idea of what teams are doing good, what teams are doing bad, and any standout players. But the reason you both played the wild card is because you wanted those bigger teams players in. You both definitely wanted Bruno Fernandes. I know that for a fact because you had him towards the end of last season because he'd done you both so well, and you just didn't expect that those 2 Manchester clubs would start so badly.
No.
I mean, and it is funny looking back at the table and seeing that they, I think it was Man United was like 12th and Man City was 15th after like 11 games. It was mad.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Man City lost to Tottenham, they didn't lose again for like 20 games in the league. So,
big turning point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably move on to Gaz. We've done me for half an hour. So
I mean, there's a lot of data there. So I mean, that's a fair amount of time to look at it, right? It gives you a chance to look at things as well, reflect. Gaz is going to do the same in it when he sees all of these parts. So
I think it's similar to Russ's. I had a good end of the season and a bad start and an indifferent middle. So, but we'll see that, I suppose.
Yeah, your transfers are way more under control than me. Which surprised me, actually. Yeah.
I normally try and do about 40 transfers a season, like 1 a week on average. And then obviously you got your chips, you use a lot more, but they don't count as transfers. No. But yeah, I had to take hits this season just because of how shit I was doing at the beginning. So the hits were necessary at the beginning. And I don't think after that, I did that many hits after.
I think you took a -12 a couple of weeks ago, but that's the only one that stands. It's been such a long time now. I'm sure once we look at the data in a minute, there'll be other ones that we'll remember.
Probably be something that I've missed. But yeah, same amount of green arrows as Russ. So 24 and 38. It's quite good.
2/3 of the season. That's it's a good achievement.
I'll take that. There's a lot of reds at the beginning. I know that.
In fact, actually, your captaincy points exactly the same. You and Russ 6-16.
Yeah, I think it is. Have a look. Yeah, that's weird.
That is weird.
Bang on, exactly the same. That's how close it was between these two, right up until the final 2 game weeks.
Yeah, and it's not like we chose the same captain every week, so we
didn't
definitely
have the same captain. Gaz didn't have Salah the whole season.
No.
And
I think Salah was my most captain. So
I think me and Russ, our captain picks weren't too bad this season. I think we had a few where obviously they'd get 2, but then most of the time, I know I had Fernandes. I captained him quite a bit when he had his big call, so that helped. But captains, I think, was a lot better this season.
I think we checked that a few weeks ago, didn't we? There was something we could check it on, and we barely kind of blanked on a captain. There was like a few reds here and there, but mostly it was like returns. Yeah,
I think you're right. I know I captained Calvert-Lewin quite a few times, and he only got 2, so that's it's bad. But yeah, Fernandes rarely didn't return, so that's probably why I've got so many. But 7's quite low, really. The most captain player. I did like to change it up every week. I do like to change it up every week, but 7 out of 38. I thought it was more than that. Oh well. Fernandes obviously was my best player. I had him since game week 2. He had a fantastic season. I think he only blanked maybe about the top of my head, maybe about 8 or 9 times this season. He didn't get any assist or goal, so
Yeah, he tailed off towards the end, didn't he? Kind of thing.
did, yeah. I'd say maybe 10. Maybe there's 10 weeks he didn't get any returns, and a couple of games he didn't play. So,
but he seems to just he takes penalties. He gets the most randomest of assists and stuff like that. He gets ghost assists, as we see the other week.
Oh God, no! I don't want to hear about that. That was so annoying.
And whatever he does, he manages to get like all 3 bonus, or at least 1 bonus.
To be honest, though, what slowed Fernandes down really was, what was it, about game week 12, game week 14, when all the pundits started mentioning that Man United were getting a lot of penalties, and then I think Klopp brought it up as well, and then suddenly Man United didn't start to get all of those lucky penalties. For like 15 weeks, I don't think they got another penalty, not one. Even ones that were like bang on stonewall penalties, everyone was just like, yeah, nah, they always get them, don't they?
Well, they say it levels out over the season, so maybe that's what was happening.
I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, with a little helping hand of pundits, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
I think I'm just looking at the transfers. I made less transfers. That was probably the difference between me and Russ. He made more transfers and took more hits. They didn't pay off, and the ones that I did.
Well, I mean, let's have a look. I guess if we look at Gaz's in-depth data, maybe we'll get a bit of an idea, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that one thing, your bench points, considering you had that Aston Villa game.
Oh, I learned my lesson after that. Don't worry.
I can't believe. I don't know if he did. You always left a weird.
You definitely did. Yeah,
always left a weird one on your bench. That was like,
yeah,
blimey.
I mean, the week that you had Dallas sub 3 and he came on for like, what was it, 15 points, 13 points, something like that, and we absolutely were certain Dallas wasn't coming on for Gaz. By some miracle, he did, because Kabak ended up being ruled out as well, or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was the week of the Man U Liverpool cancellations.
Yeah,
I think that's
probably. Was it? No, I think it might be the week before.
No, I don't think it was. You had a lot more players come off your bench than me and Russ did. That's why I think you've got a considerable less. I mean, that's one thing that definitely did help you over Russ as well. I think there's like a 40, 50 point difference in terms of how much you left on your bench.
Yeah.
And you can see as well at the start of the season, you've had a sort of almost topsy-turvy start like Russ did.
Yeah.
But then you took a massive amount of hits in game week 7. You took a -12 and then took a -8, and you still got green arrows in both those 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's game week 6, game week 7. That was the week that I'd had a really bad week the week before, and I just took rage hits.
You got 34 in 6, and the average was 51. So you took it, but because yours are so much more clustered together than Russ's. Russ was taking all just -4s constantly. It seems like you straighten your team out a little quicker than Russ did.
Yeah, that's that game week 7, 8, 9. I took, what's that, -24.
You took a -8 in game week 6. You took a -12 in game week 7. You took a -8 in game week 8, and then a -4 in game week 9.
Yeah, I think that was literally just to sort my team out. Putting players in like Mendy, Chilwell, Stones, Diaz, players like that, and then I pretty much kept them until they got injured. But it's a bit up and down, isn't it?
It's a bit, yours is a bit more up and down, but I guess your red arrows are not as deep as Russ's. So it says like the rank change. You only lost like in game week 13. That says what, 0.89%. So that's like a couple of thousand places. So your red arrows were always near the game week average, as opposed to, I only got 20 points, but the average was 50. So you could recover quicker. And obviously, when you did take early game week hits, with the exception of game week 6, you did get all green arrows. Whereas when we looked at Russ a minute ago, his was a sea of red until about game week 12, and then it was endless greens for Russ.
If you look at, there's not actually that many minus hits that I didn't get a green arrow on. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. So all your hits paid off.
Yeah, I think that's the hits I did take paid off. I think that's pretty much sums it up. Whereas Russ was obviously trying to compete against me, and he was going for other players not the same as me, or he was getting in players that I already had, and he was getting them in too late when they'd already done the damage, like Maddison, Grealish, Lingard, players like that, who I got in quite early.
I did get Lingard in.
Did you not?
And I had Grealish at one point, but I rarely go for Grealish.
Oh, Grealish did quite well.
Yeah, I don't think I was. I definitely weren't going for your players or anything like that. Because like I said, I was trying to not put any emotion into it, just do what I wanted to do, and see if that worked out. So yeah, I was trying to keep like a narrow mind of I'll go for what I think's the best players to go for and ignore everything else, kind of thing. But yeah, not that it worked out, but
yeah. Last 10 game weeks, I only got 1 red arrow.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that from game week 28, you've absolutely smashed it. Apart from game week 34, and then I think game week 34 was like a bad week anyway because you still got the average.
Yeah. That was the week where I only had like 8 players played because of the Man U, Man U Liverpool, and then Man City rotated their whole team. So
and you picked a bad captain, Kane, and he only got 2. Yeah. So there you go. But then after that, Iniacho, Calvert-Lewin, Antonio, Kane. You had Eze.
That week, I think that was the turning point in my season when I started putting in players that were actually did quite well. Like,
if you could get him in if you got on a train quickly, like you definitely beat me and Russ to Maddison, right? So you had quite a topsy-turvy start with selling Son, missing out on all of those golden points, etc. But you did get Ings for a good result, even though you got a red arrow. But you definitely had Grealish for a long period. You had De Bruyne. You got Stones before me and Russ. I think me and Russ only got him for the bench boost, which is well down there in like game week 20. And then you had Maddison. That was a great one for you. You had Trossard for 2 double figure returns, which he has not managed since or ever.
Yeah.
Eze, he got 2 double figure returns at the end. That was a hot streak when everyone else was flocking to Lingard or Antonio. You picked Eze. I mean, I was on Zaha because I expected him to be that one that brought those points in, and Iheanacho as well. You even if you didn't have him for very long,
4 weeks,
you got a good amount of points there. And you supplemented all of the season with having Dallas and players like that, like Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin I had for probably...
You had him longer than me. I mean, I started with him from game week 1, but you, as we were speaking earlier, I think you said you had until game week 32 or something like that.
Yeah. When he got injured, I took him out, and then he didn't do much after that anyway. So, De Bruyne was a bit of a... He actually got me more points than I realised when we were looking at this earlier. Because he'd get like 1, or he'll get like 15. It was just a bit. You had to persist with him, and then when he did, when everyone didn't have him, he was getting like 14 points for me, 13, 12, 16, like things like that. And I captained him as well. Those when he had big returns, I remember I did captain him a few times. So
yeah, it says here that you captained De Bruyne. You got an 8.
Game week 11. He's still got a red, but you
Still got a
captain him
red,
with
but look
14
at
points.
Gaz's red. It's only like minus 12%.
Yeah.
So Gaz never really suffered a dramatic rank loss, even when he had like a bad one.
Yeah, game week 4 was that was the turning point. That's why I thought I'm going to take loads of hits now.
You took a nearly 100% rank loss. You plummeted. So, and you captained Danny Ings because obviously last season prior's form when you had him, and he'd been gold for you.
I think he only played one. That was that the Tottenham Southampton game? It wasn't, was it?
No,
that was game week 2.
He, I think he only played one half of the game.
Possibly, or he might have played just over 60 to get 2 points. Oh no, he would have got 2 points. So he would have played over 60. But it must have been like a fixture that seemed easy that he weren't very good in.
And I think it might have been Burnley or something. I don't know. But that's the week I had Grealish on the bench, and that's what done me. That's why I did. If I'd had a decent score in game week 4, and not had the stupid bench, I would have been a lot closer, I think.
Possibly, but at the same time, if you had a good game week 4, hypothetically, because you had a half decent game week 3, you were still quite a distance off of me at that point. Because I was like in the top 16k, I think, after game week 3, whereas you're 1.7 million. So you might have just been happy to tread water, and you might not have taken those risky hits in 7 and 8, which has clearly bounced you massively up and set you on your run. So, I mean, it's plausible you could have been close to me. You might have gone the other way. You might have treaded water for a bit and then had a major breakdown over Christmas and not played your free hit and bench boost, just taking hits instead and struggled.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it?
I mean,
I did something like that just to turn a corner.
I mean, what we're seeing is obviously because of the Manchester clubs and because of the delayed start for certain teams, and I'm sure it'll be on other people's data as well, that the option you took to wildcard early to bring them in because you was expecting both those teams to be awesome, and then they just wasn't. It blew everything that you and Russ both had planned. Because if you'd picked the United players, I think you said you had Martial in your team. I know Russ had like Sterling, I think. If those players hit the ground running, I would have been playing catch up, and the data we'd be looking at right now, my team would look like this. It would be me taking massive hits after game week 2 or 3, trying to catch you lot because I hadn't played my wild card. So it can go either way, I think. And I mean, we're hoping obviously next season that all 20 teams start the same game week. There's not going to be a delay, so the pressures to play the wild card to get certain players in. But again, I'm still an advocate of an early wild card,
Another thing as well, just to that I've noticed as well, is the first time I've got over 100 points in 3 times in a season. I don't think that's ever happened before for any of us.
No, I'd mentioned that when you did get it the third time.
Yeah, like we've got over 100, all of us, more than once this season, and that's never happened before.
No, we got it all in the same game week as well. The game week, I think it was 19, right, where you didn't play any chips, but me and Russ bench boosted because you had Stones. You got whatever it was. I think you got 120, isn't it? It says it there, 129. You got, and me and Russ got just a little bit higher. I think Russ got 135, and I got 139.
Something like that, yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was a first for all of us, and then we've definitely. I think me and Russ have managed to get 100 once more since, but you managed to get...
I think game week 35, where Gaz got 116, I think I got 100, and you got 100 and something.
No, I might have, yeah. It's plausible. I just did the worst of the 3 of us, and that sounds... You shouldn't even be downbeat on that, but we all still managed to get 100, and we're all looking at it like going, oh, well, yeah, it was a bad one, wasn't
it? That was game week 35.
So...
3 times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what's on it? Yeah.
So
first for us, getting 100 twice. We'll see.
Probably. I mean, I pretty last season I didn't get 100 once. So
No, nor did I.
yeah.
Like 9 something, I think, 1 week. But
I kept frittering with 100. I know that, but to get a ton,
Yeah.
a couple of times has been a good.
I mean, I did get one a third time, but it was with a minus, and the minus took me under. So.
Oh yeah, you got like 99, didn't you?
Yeah, which was annoying. But
yeah, I got 97. I think that the week you're talking about, it's game week 22. I got 97.
Yeah, probably.
But again, as you could see, it's the same with Gaz's stats, like it is with yours, because the wild card didn't work. He had to take hits to straighten it out. Then it started to straighten out after 3 red arrows that were minimal red arrows, and then it was good right up until about just after Christmas when rotation kicked in. So Gaz played his wild card again, had another bad 1 or 2 weeks, and then it finally straightened out properly, and then it was 1 red arrow for 10 weeks. So
the red arrows in the after the halfway, the red arrows that I was getting, the average I was only getting just under the average, so it wasn't as bad.
No, and of course the higher up you get in rank, you have to get over the average because your rank specifically isn't the actual overall average. That's the sad thing. So the overall average may say 61 points, but if you're in like the top, say 600, 700,000 of players, that average is usually higher because they're still active players.
Yeah. So yeah, a good season, I'd say.
I mean, yeah, nothing. I wouldn't sniff at it. Personal best for you. Personal best for Russ. You can clearly see with these statistics where you can, where you can say, oh, it went wrong. It wasn't dramatic. It was just the Manchester club started a bit poorly. You and Russ both got the same captaincy points. You got less. You left less points on your bench, which is a good achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially the first couple of weeks.
It's the one thing I hate about this game, the bloody bench. Getting annoying.
Don't have that in Sky, do they?
No.
Pick
11, get endless amounts of points.
Always screws me over. So annoying.
But again, same with you with Kane. Gaz had Fernandes for nearly the entire season.
Yeah.
So there was always one consistent premium that you two had that scored you, 1, your most points, and 2, had really good seasons. Fernandes and Kane both had really good seasons. Fernandes was the top FPL point scorer in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
So, yeah, 244. Kane finished with 242.
Mm.
And bearing in mind, Fernandes didn't play the last game. If he'd just got 2 points in the last game, would have been a dead draw. No, sorry, it wouldn't have been. It would have been Fernandes would have beat Kane by 4 points. But yeah, so Kane wasn't far off from beating Fernandes.
No.
But yeah.
Should probably move on to Mike's.
Yeah. Talking about bench point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Souček, isn't it?
Souček probably equates for about 40 of those, maybe 60 nearly. So I got less green arrow than you two. I got 20, so 4 less. I got less captain points than you two by 4. I took just a few more hits than Gaz. And then you can tell the difference in sort of like my statistics as well. My biggest rank gain was Alexander-Arnold because no one was going near Liverpool players in defence at all the whole season. And I stuck faith with him.
Well, everyone had him from like day one, and then Liverpool were awful.
And then he was gone.
And he was awful. And so, yeah, everyone sold him in the end. I mean, I jumped off him.
I think he was about 30% owned when the game started. So was Robertson.
Yeah.
Then Liverpool started badly and lots jumped off. And he got down to about 10%. And then Klopp admitted that Alexander-Arnold had COVID over the summer. And that's why he didn't do any pre-season. And then Alexander-Arnold's ownership fell, I think, below 5%. And I kept saying to you, and I'm sure it is over Christmas, the recordings, I kept saying, I'm going to get rid of him. but Liverpool's fixtures are really good, and then it just persuaded me to just keep rolling with him.
Which in the
And
end worked out because he come
It
good.
worked out, yeah. Some were a bit bad, and then others were just really good. He would get the lucky thing with Alexander-Arnold is if he got like an assist or a clean sheet, he hoovered up all the bonus points as well. So I'd get 11 points, which was so good because you two had like Leeds players that were just running wild, and I couldn't keep up. So yeah, I mean,
It's interesting that your stats, less green arrows than me and Gaz, less captain points, more on the bench. So I think the thing that really did it for you is you got those weeks where there was freakish scores, and you had those players. Like you had Son when he scored those 4 goals, and
well,
I'm pretty sure there was other weeks where you had the right player at the right time.
I guess if we look at the thingy quickly, like my bench points though, that's disappointing. If I had Gaz like 80 points more, like so if I had like 288 like Gaz did, or 284, whatever it was, sorry, at that extra 80 points on my score puts me at 2,500. That puts me in like the top 20k, I think it is. I mean, that's a ridiculously good, that's poor choices from me, I guess, because there were some times when I left players like Ollie Watkins on the bench, and it really hurt me because I thought, oh, Villa have got a difficult game. They got like a top 6 side and they're away. And I didn't change my mindset from the traditional thought process that we would have if the stadium was full of fans. So the stadium was full of fans and Villa goes away to City. Villa probably don't score, or they get a lucky one.
Yeah.
But because there was no fans and no pressure, they took more risks, and like Watkins scored against City, and I'm pretty sure that's the one where Stones got sent off, right? So
yeah, it was.
And I left him on the bench for that game, and I'm pretty sure Watkins got like 9 or 11 points. So points like that, they add up, and clearly I've got 370 odd nearly on the bench, which is quite embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm surprised though. Yeah, I thought it'd all be the other way around. I thought Gaz would have the most bench points, but
because Gaz started with the most, I think.
Yeah.
Gaz had about 100 points on his bench by game week 7.
Yeah.
And then it just drifted away. That didn't transpire any further. He just had
I learned my lesson very quickly after that.
Yeah, and then as we said, like,
I mean, that's probably karma for me and you, Mike, for laughing at him so much when Grealish was on his bench.
I guess so, and also like he got really. Gaz got more of the luck than us two in the final few weeks with players. If they didn't start, his bench players came in for double figures or
Dallas,
strongholds.
Eze, yeah.
Whereas we didn't. We had players coming for 1s and 2s. So it was
killer.
It was.
I did get Danny Welbeck. When the Man U Liverpool game got postponed.
Yes, you did. You got 11, wasn't it?
12 points Welbeck.
Yeah, see, so
you got. So I got a bit of luck.
It's this game is always going to be about luck as well. I mean, as we were talking about earlier off air, that the guys that are in the top 10, I think none of them had ever been in the top 10k before, and none of them had been in the top 100k more than once. Some of them. So there's always going to be that element of luck, picking players at the right time, like jumping on them before they get hot. Like if you got Lingard the first day he joined West Ham, people probably laughed at you and went, oh God, look at this bloody idiot. Why would you do that? And then Lingard, scored every week for like 7-8 weeks. And I'm sure there are lots and lots of recordings with me saying, he can't keep it up. And he kept it up.
He's going against his stats as well, weren't he?
He was going against his XG. He was going against any prior history about him. And Gaz pointed out, I think that he'd scored more goals at West Ham in like 11 games than he'd scored for Man United like in 4 years.
Yeah,
it was stupid. So
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can look at my thingy now if you want and get an idea of where I went wrong or right.
This year.
So my first 2 weeks were outstanding. There's no getting around. My plan was different from your two. You two planned to wildcard in and get Man United and City players, and Russ obviously wanted a Burnley player because you thought they were going to be solid defensively like they always are.
Charlie Taylor, he was amazing.
Yeah, I just had no interest in them. I didn't rate United. I didn't think they'd be because they weren't going to have a pre-season, and nor City because of the European competition they played in the summer. And I was going on the basis that Burnley are slow starters normally, and Villa barely survive relegation. So why would I even want to go there? The only person I did end up having from game week 1 that ended up becoming a Villa player was Martinez. Martinez was my only player who didn't score in game week 1, and I'd started him in goal as well, but he got switched out for whoever my other goalkeeper was, McCarthy, I think, and I think I got a couple of points.
That one's annoying because I definitely would have got Martinez, but I think it's because Arsenal sold him after game week 1. I think
they didn't play him in game week 1, and then he was sold immediately after game week 1. Yeah,
they'd sold him earlier, and I knew he was in. I would have gone Martinez, but I went Ramsdale, and that was terrible.
I was just prepared to take the plunge because I figured if he ends up in the Premier League, I've still got Martinez, and then I've got McCarthy as well. If he doesn't, then I've still got McCarthy, and then I just need to switch Martinez for someone else. That's another 4-5. I always play on the basis of having 2 4.5 million keepers. I think it gives you more flexibility. I know it's a nightmare because I'm sure of those 366 bench points, a good couple of them are going to be Martinez because I benched the bastard when he was playing harder games and he got endless save points. Probably the same with Gaz with Melier for a period as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I had a really good second week as well because I kept Son and I got 95 points. I got to top 20k in the world. And then I kind of took my foot off the gas a little bit because I didn't know what to do to keep the pace going. And I was watching you two take panic hits, and I really didn't. I've never finished inside the top 100k in over a decade. So I figured, well, okay, I've got the team that I want. I don't need to transfer in United or City players. Although I do believe I think I transferred in Martial for 1 week, and then he was immediately gone the week after. And yeah, so I didn't know what I was really doing. And as you can see, some of the weeks, my main gains were Martinez every week. It's quite fun to see. I mean, and then I just had some picks that just really worked out for me. I had Sufau early. I had Bowen for quite a strong start. I had James Justin for quite a long period. I brought Kyle Walker in because I couldn't figure out Man City's rotation policy, and we kept complaining about it. So I took the ballsy step of buying both Walker and Cancelo and said to you two, well, if one doesn't start, he gets benched for the other one, so I get the points. And for about 4 or 5 weeks, that's all that I did. I just kept getting points from one of them or the other until Cancelo got moved to left back, and then I started getting points from both of them. And then I had a really bad period over Christmas where it's just red arrows, and that I know where that's the reason for that. That was because I kept transferring out Fernandes for Salah and Salah for Fernandes, and either of them scored really high, and I had neither of them for those specific weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got a red arrow if you have a look in game week 24, and I captained Gundogan for 38 points.
Still got a red arrow.
I got 90 points.
Only got 90 points. Bloody
and
hell.
I still got a red arrow. That's what it's like being up that high.
How does that work?
That's how stressful it is being higher up, because you, even when you think you've had a good game week, and it was really sapping the morale out of me. I mean, if you have a look at the points in 3 of those, 5 game weeks, I got 90, 72, and 71, and all of them equated to red arrows.
It's only a 3%
I
rank
understand
change, -3.
But when you take
that is
a
annoying.
red arrow, I mean, it's fine if you take 1 or 2 red arrows and you go, oh, okay, yeah, it's only an X amount percent thingy. But because I took 5 red arrows, one after the other, it was absolutely sapping my morale. And as you can see, I cracked in 25 and I bought Gareth Bale in for a -4, who come off the bench and only got 4 points. That's why I got a red arrow that week, because Dallas went bloody mental and got 17. And I chose to get Bale for the -4 instead of Dallas because Mourinho had convinced me he was going to start after having a really good Europa League. He didn't, but he got an assist and that was fine. And in the following week, as you and Gaz have both alluded to, I managed to jump on certain players. So I got on Gundogan early and got a load of points out of him. But Gareth Bale was like the ultimate.
What's the week you were going to triple captain him as well, and then you changed your mind at the last minute?
So the week I was going to triple captain him,
26
was 26 when I triple captain Kane. Kane got 8 points, Bale got 21. If I captained Bale,
you were adamant. You were like, "I'm going to triple captain Bale. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And then you didn't.
Myself out of it because I thought I know what will happen. Mourinho won't play him. Mourinho won't play him in the double. Gareth Bale will play 2 substitute appearances, and he'll be absolutely, it'll be like 15 minutes tops in each one, and I'll be lucky if I get an assist. So I'll go safe with Kane.
Yeah.
And then the following week, after Bale had a stormer, people still didn't believe him. So I held him, and he got another 14 points for me. Same time, as you can see, Alexander-Arnold's been ticking away constantly at my main differential. And then by some stroke of luck, the blank game week 29, I brought Trossard in. And I think that's where he accidentally got captained because I had him as my vice.
Yeah.
And I had someone else captain, and I can't remember who it was. I think that game got called off, didn't it? So Trossard got reverted to our captains.
Yeah.
But you can see, like, the only thing that's really set me aside from used to is that some players I did jump on or I kept that were unfavoured. And some of my game week 1 picks were just really, really good. And that's not like me bragging or pretending like I'm quality. I'm not. I just had a feeling that Martinez was going to be unreal. So I went with Martinez, and I had a feeling that Dominic Calvert-Lewin would get 1 or 2 against Tottenham. And he did. He got 1, and then he just went on a run. And I just saw sort of bits like that was so foul. Bowen, I don't know why I had a thing for Bowen. It must have been Antonio must have been out injured or something. Because Bowen,
he was.
Well, for me, James Justin was the only Leicester defender worth picking because they weren't keeping clean sheets, but he was getting assists. John Stones, that was the game week I bought him in. The game week I bench boosted, that was when I was originally playing the triple captain, if you remember. I said to you I was going to bench Stones, bench Antonio, and bench someone else that got really high points. And then at the 5 minutes before the deadline, I changed it from triple captain to bench boost because I was like, why have I brought Stones in and I'm going to bench him during a double game week? So I played my bench boost instead, and I think I got like 60 points off my bench to get 139. So that was just a mad balls out luck pick to switch those 2 chips. And if I had obviously kept with my gut and triple captain Bale over Kane, that would have been the ultimate chip switch ever to switch from triple captain in 19 to bench boost, and then triple captain in 26 and getting 60 points from Bale. So I guess my thing is I got to hold my nerve and probably not captain Salah as much, because every time I captain Salah and he blanked, you can see I got red arrows.
Yeah, but he's normally so reliable.
Well, he got 20.
It wasn't
goals.
like he had a bad season either.
He definitely didn't have a bad season. Gaz is right. It's just obviously Salah got 22 goals, but Dallas got game weeks where he got like goals, clean sheets, and assists because he was playing out of position.
Yeah,
Lingard was absolutely tearing me apart. Rudiger for a period was tearing me apart because of that Chelsea defense. It's frequently you can see like the most damage done to me is really it's just Dallas and those players that I just didn't put in for some reason or other. I just was too stubborn to, because I didn't think that their form would last. And Fernandes, I'd given Fernandes up after game week 26, I think, to get Bale in. I don't regret that decision because Fernandes didn't really score a huge amount after game week 26. I just needed to, I think I needed to take another gamble, one or two more, and really push on because I think I made the wrong gambles in those last 2 game weeks. As you can see, I got 2 red arrows for it, but not significant red arrows, at least. But I don't know. It looks weirder though, doesn't it? That I've got so many more red arrows than used to.
Yeah, like I said, it's because the green arrows you did get were really big ones.
Yeah.
So even though we got more green
some
arrows,
of the bad as well. Game week 4, minus 300%. Like,
I plummeted that week. I had that was the game week when he said Son was out.
Oh.
So I transferred Son out, and then Son and Kane run riot because I had neither of them, and they absolutely destroyed me. And then that was when, after that game week, Son was basically at like 60% ownership for nearly like 3/4 of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your last red arrow, minus 6.66%. It's like nothing.
Yeah, I literally lost like, it shows you there, I lost like 300 places. It was literally nothing. And if I'd just done nothing instead of taking the -8, I probably would have just got a green arrow. But I wanted to gamble just to, final game week to see if I get into the top 50k. But yeah, there are some good things. I mean, the one I've definitely got to trust is when I say something to use too that I'm thinking I should do, just definitely do it. When I said I was triple captain in Bale, I should definitely have done it. And in the following week, when I said, I'm going to captain Bale this time, and then I still bloody didn't and captain Gundogan, I cost myself 8 points.
Yeah, I'm sure there was another one as well you did.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
You'd say things and then you'd do the opposite.
Yeah, I just talked myself out of it.
But it'd be, the thing you said would be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
You kick yourself over telling me to get Lowen in, and you didn't. That was the one.
I think the thing here was I couldn't get to him without taking a minus. And I didn't think the minus would be worth it because I thought he'd get a goal and he'd get 8 points. But I figured if I took the -4, it would mean he would only get 4. And I didn't want him long term because I had a balanced squad at that point. But you got him in because you had a space and you wanted to make a transfer. And I was trying not to make needless transfers in defence as well.
I think it was a double for Burnley as well. I think that's why.
I think it was. But I think he got most of his points in the first game.
Oh, yeah.
And then he just got 2 points in the next game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that is a kind of regret. That's I did have him in my player predictions to cover that. But yeah, that's another one where I told you about him. I was certain of it for some wild reason because Lowton hadn't scored in the league in 9 years. But I just knew it. I just knew he would score because I said to you, I've been watching him taking a hell of a lot more shots and I knew he was going to score. And I don't know why I knew that. Same with I knew that with Bale. I knew Bale was going to score. I kept saying it to you two, and then I talked myself out of captaining him.
I agreed with you on that because he did look good in the Europa League, and he looked good when he came on the week before.
Yeah.
So I mean, it made sense. I mean, I put him in my player predictions that week, so I got those 21 points. Well, you did as well, but yeah. That was good for me in
I got him,
predictions.
But I mean, if I put the triple captain on him, I'd be on 60 points more, If I'd made a couple of better benching decisions, I wouldn't have 370 odd points on my bench.
Yeah, but I mean, as you said earlier, that's the fun of FPL, I guess.
The fun of FPL, it's just mad, right? But it's just funny that if you didn't, with not showing my stats at the top of this bit, and saying where did this person finish, and if you blocked out the overall ranks and stuff like that, someone would go, oh, well, he's had a bad season.
Yeah.
Look at all that red.
Yeah.
And then like because you lot started getting your act together by game week 6 and 7, you can see like game week 8, game week 10, game week 11, I took 3 -8s. So yeah, I just think I've got a. Hopefully that those instincts are there next season, because if they're not and I trust them and they go badly, I'm going to look like a right muppet. But hopefully they will be. And yeah, try not to. One thing I did do better than used to this season was the strikers I picked were faultless. I know I started with Vassilev, but that worked in my favour because it meant I always had to play 3-5-2 or 4-4-2. But I don't. I normally play 5 in the middle if I can't play 3 strikers. And my strikers this season have been, apart from Vassilev and I think 1 week with Martial, has been Kane, Watkins, Calvert-Lewin and Bamford. So I've had the 4 main scorers in my attack and never sort of deviated from that. But I did so much worse than used to in my defence. I should have had Dallas. I should have just swallowed my pride and put the bastard in.
I feel actually I'm the opposite way around. I mean, we're getting on to our top and worst picks in a minute, but when I was doing my top picks, my defender choices were really good. I had like good 4 or 5 defenders. I thought, yeah, they did me like a solid this year. Like Charlie Taylor was amazing when at the start of the season. Dallas, obviously, I had in. Justin was great for me. Mitchell, although I benched him a lot, was brilliant. So and then I had Stones for that massive one. So
yeah,
I went triple Man City at one point, and that worked out quite well for a few weeks.
Well, they were keeping endless clean sheets when it's like Gaz last year with Liverpool.
Yeah.
If they weren't getting clean sheets, like if you had Stones and Diaz, they were getting goals or assists for crying out loud. So it just
yeah. But my striker choices were awful, apart from having Kane all season. I mean, I had a lot of those ones you mentioned, but I had them at the wrong times. Like, by the time I brought Calvert-Lewin in, he'd stopped scoring. I don't think Calvert-Lewin ever got me more than 2 points. Just so annoying. Ings and Che Adams is the big story, which I'll come on to as well. I mean,
I literally didn't go near, I think, any Southampton striker at any period this season, so that probably served me well. I didn't get drawn into that belief that they were going to be as good as last season.
I had both of them at points in the season, and whichever way round I had it, the other one scored. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I did really badly, I think, when I played my second wild card in 32, I brought Azpilicueta in. And I think I only scored 10 points out of him in 5-6 game weeks. He was absolutely pointless for me. Ike Nuri proved to be okay. He got me 1 clean sheet as well, like Azpilicueta did. But again, Ike Nuri was a bad pick. He didn't get me anywhere near what used to got from Dallas over those last 5-6 game weeks. In fact, Soufal. If I just kept Soufal like I had at the beginning of the season.
Soufal was probably one of my favourite players this season.
I mean, I could have literally have kept Soufal, who was significantly cheaper than Azpilicueta, but I followed the trend to get on the Chelsea defence because they were the best team in the league statistically defensively, and I should have just stopped with Soufal because he was getting, even if they weren't keeping clean sheets West Ham, he was still getting assists, so he was chipping away with like 5 or 6 pointers, and that would have been enough to be a differential for me. I mean, last game of the season, Soufal got 10. I've got Rob Holding, who got 7, but if I had Soufal in my starting lineup as well, I would have edged myself into that top 50k like I wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are definitely lessons. At least with this sort of data, you can see some of the mistakes some mistakes were not your fault. Postponements, Man City, United starting the league, starting their games in a different time, and stuff like that. And you can also see what hits worked, what hits didn't work. So you get an idea as well which hits were emotional and which weren't.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you actually, we can check for a little bit longer anyway, check what game week that was and go, yeah, that was definitely me just losing my bloody head and going, yeah, get him out as well. And you go, oh God, I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
I think with me, with hits, if I took a hit and put in someone that didn't return, they were gone straight away.
Yeah, like Gaeta, I think Gaeta got you a return and you still ditched him.
No, he got 1 point.
Did he?
And then I never put him in ever again.
I thought he got you an actual return. It blew my mind. Someone definitely did get you a return, and then before I'd even finished the sentence, you were like, "Yeah, he's gone."
Welbeck, he got an assist. He went.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah.
There's a few. I've written them all down earlier. There's a few. Nick Pope, I had for 2 weeks. He got 10 and 8, and then I put Mendy in. I've never put Pope.
I resisted with that, and I think I proceeded with Pope. That's why I've got Pope in 25.
That worked though. I'm pretty sure Mendy, that was when he came in and got like about 5 or 6 clean sheets in a row. So
yes, he did, and then amazingly, it didn't keep Lampard's job, did it? So
no, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we learn from this. Hopefully, my instincts remain, so I can utilize them. Maybe Gareth Bale will be at Spurs again next season, so I can triple captain him.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, should we move on then?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think we started to get into this kind of stuff, although I think we were talking about our worst picks. But we're going to go through our top picks. So goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, striker, that have served us well. Not necessarily by the stats, but just probably by gut feeling and kind of made us happy, I guess. Mine's definitely emotional anyway. I know mine's emotional. Yours too might be on stats, but let's get into it. So goalkeepers first of all. Well,
yours is definitely emotional.
Well, thinking about my keepers this year, I did have Martinez, and obviously Martinez is a great pick. But I think, like Mike alluded to when we were going through the stats, I benched him some of the times when he got massive points hauls, and then when I put him in, would be the week he'd get like a 2 or something. So even though he was amazing, he frustrated me. And obviously, I had Alisson towards the end of the season, and he went and scored a goal. And I mean, that just probably the highlight of the season. I've never cheered so much. I've seen my goalkeeper in FPL score, so I was like over the moon.
When we were looking at your table, Alisson was your top scorer for 4 or 3 of the last 4 game weeks.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, because he got a couple of 8s and he got a 10 in there, so he was a great differential pick because other people that picked Liverpool defenders, if you got Alexander-Arnold, you matched it, but if you had Robertson or anyone else, they didn't get anywhere near as many points as Alisson did, because as we all made a joke of, Alisson in some of the games would pass the ball out to the opposition, so they took another shot at him.
Yeah.
He was making his own points.
It's because I had a bit of trouble with goalkeepers on my wild card because I brought Mendy in.
Johnston for a while, and he kept
Johnston. Johnston. Well, I had Johnston and Martinez, and then I'd swap them round, and every time I swapped them round, the one on the bench would get all the points.
That's the problem with 2 4.5s. If you keep chopping and changing, you will burn your own fingers. I did.
Next year, I'm picking a goalkeeper, and he's staying in.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
I had Martinez, but I did burn my fingers a couple of times by dropping Martinez for McCarthy. McCarthy would go and get like a 1. I think, and definitely I picked McCarthy when he had like doubles, and Martinez didn't. McCarthy would get 1 or 2 points, and Martinez would get 10 from the one game, and I was absolutely livid with myself for switching them around. So I'm still tempted next year. Actually, instead of 4.5 keepers like I normally do, I am very, very tempted just to put Martinez in at 5.5 and then have whoever's Villa's backup is for 4 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be tempted to do that. I don't know who else I'd want to pick, really.
I guess we'll see when the prices get revealed what kind of because I could be talked into getting Ben Foster, but I'm a Ben Foster super fan in the sense I've had him loads of time in FPL.
Had Foster before.
Where's he? Watford.
Watford, yeah, they're getting promoted. So
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a good pick. He's been a good pick in the past, hasn't he, Foster?
it just depends his price. If he's 4 or 5, I'm into it. If he's 5, nah.
Nah. Yeah, nah. Yeah, Martin is going to be dearer next year for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, he's top scoring goalkeeper. He broke Aston Villa's record for clean sheets, or he matched it, I think, with Brad Friedel. I'd be surprised if he's not 5-5 like Nick Pope is.
Be like a Pope score, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Price.
But you know what you're getting with both Pope and Martinez. There'll be some weeks where you might not get a lot because they don't get a clean sheet. But both of those two are such good shot stoppers that you know there's a lot more extra points in there or bonus in a nothing game that they might lose that game 1-0, but you know that he's getting 4 or 5 points because of saves or bonus. So yeah. I'm pleased. I had him from game week 1. That's the smartest thing I've done in a long time. And I just knew I had to have him after how good he was in the FA Cup final and in the Community Shield or Charity Shield. I can't remember what it's called now.
Community Shield, yeah.
Community Shield.
And then Arsenal sold him.
That was clever. It's going to be the same for Willock, right? Willock's just had an absolute monumental run for Newcastle, and I've got this feeling that Willock's about to be sold for 20-odd million to Newcastle, and we're going to... I mean, if that is the case, and I'm right, I'm definitely having Willock in my FPL team, even if he's like 6 million.
Definitely have him for that first game, because then he might break the record.
Oh, there you go.
So you're going to have a Newcastle player? Like, I mean, every week you've slagged off Newcastle. How bad though? You're going to go Newcastle.
But if it's Willock sold because Arsenal were like, yeah, you're not going to make the grade, and it's like Martinez, you're goddamn right, I'm going to have Willock. So no ifs and buts.
Outrageous.
I mean, because Sam Maximan would have had a couple of weeks off, so he'll have like 7 less bandages all over him, and Callum Wilson will be fully fit.
Will he?
Yeah.
Don't know, but
I think he will.
We'll see.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, they all need a rest.
They do.
Yeah.
Not all of them are getting it though, because the Euros.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, Gaz has got Mendy. I think you touched on this in the thing.
Yeah, I put him in. I put Mendy in after Chelsea signed him because I think he was quite a late transfer.
Yeah, he was. The season's already was underway.
Yeah, so I put him in, and he got me quite a lot of 6 points, quite a lot of clean sheets. And then I took him out on my wild card, 26, for Schmeichel, and that didn't go so well. So, but yeah, I didn't have many keepers this season. There's Mendy, Schmeichel, Meslier, McCarthy, and Pope, I think, and I also had Guaita for 1 week. That's a
fair amount.
Pope. Sorry,
it's a fair amount. Considering there's only 20 teams.
Yeah, Gaz went through a lot of goalkeepers. I mean, as much as he joked about you were emotional with your pick, Gaz is very emotional with goalkeepers if they don't go well. As he's already mentioned, Schmeichel's now on his list of players he'll never pick again. So...
Yeah. No, Mendy he got me the most points of any goalkeeper. He might not have got me... He might have been the... most points, differential, but I think I got him in when no one else had him, and he was getting lots of clean sheets. I think it just stabilised my team. So it was game week 6 or 7, I got him in, and that kind of stabilised my team because I could rely on him. I think I had Chilwell at the same time, so I double Chelsea, and that's when they were getting all their clean sheets. So that helped. He did actually help me. He sorted my team out. My defence needed sorting. So yeah.
Even when Lampard got let go, to be honest, you still didn't need to sell them because Tuchel come in and their defence was absolutely fabulous. It was their midfield and attack that went awry. So yeah, you reap the benefits.
Well, he's a good keeper. He made some big saves this season.
The mad thing about Mendy is, though, I don't think he got a lot of points for saves. He just got bonus because they kept a clean sheet. And he made like one or two really important saves. Like the Man United game I'm thinking about when they drew 0-0. I'm pretty sure he made 2 goal-stopping saves, and they were the only 2 saves he made. So he got no save point bonus, but he literally got all 3 bonus points.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So
yeah, he didn't make a lot of. He didn't get many save points, but he did get the odd bonus. But yeah, no, he just. I got him in when I needed to find a system that I could stick with, and he fit the bill. So he did me all right.
Yeah.
So
guess we should probably look at defenders.
Russ put him in, and he didn't play.
Yeah, I think I put him in a couple of times. I put him in a little while after you did, and that's
Winning
when
with your wild card, right, with Forster.
yeah, and that's when he started conceding. And then I put him in my last wild card, and that was when Tuchel decided to drop him for Kepa. And so that's why I ended up on Alisson. Because I thought, well, Alisson's not going to get dropped, so I'll go there.
Yeah,
I can't be dealing with Tuchel tinkering.
yeah.
Alisson's not going to get dropped. You hoped. You desperately hoped. He was like, please don't get dropped.
I felt I would have had a breakdown if he did. So, yeah. But yeah. Start with Gaz, I guess. Matt Target. Yeah.
Matt Target.
He's been
game 2. He didn't play in game week 1, obviously. So I had him for the whole season.
He's played every single game for Villa this year as well. He hasn't missed one.
I didn't know. That actually makes sense.
Yeah, they said it on Match of the Day. They said if Matt Target plays, he's... I think it might be a Villa record or something. But yeah, he's played every game.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't think there was many outfielders, was there? It was Target, Højbjerg, and someone.
Ward-Prowse did it as well, 2 years running.
Yeah, I don't think he did it this season, though. I can't remember who else did it this season. I know Højbjerg and Matt Target, but yeah. Target was just good for assists. Villa were the unsung real sort of clean sheet, merchants. They got 15 clean sheets.
Well, Martinez in goal, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Target was getting assists for Gaz as well, and if he got an assist or a goal, he got the bonus as well.
Yeah. It was, I think, a lot of the times as well where he was on my bench and he came on for whatever reason, so I got the points. And
I wish I had that luck.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's very rarely he got like 1 or 2. I think he did get quite a lot of yellow cards this season, but he got a lot of clean sheets and assists as well. So yeah, it was between him and Soufal because I had both of them for a majority of the season.
I think though, because Target was so low owned, and I think he's one of your biggest differentials, isn't he?
Yeah, it's 4.5 when I got him in. I think he ended up being like 5.1 or 5.2. So
yeah,
it was between him and Soufal because Soufal did a similar thing where he got the beat, but then you get a Target had a really strong start to the season, then kind of fell away towards the end, and Soufal was.
Yeah, actually, a few weeks ago, you did moan about Target because he kept not getting a clean sheet or getting a yellow card, so just getting 1 point.
Yeah, I put with him though because they had good fixtures, and I kept him because of the double in 26, and I think the week where John Stones got 27, he got 18 points that week. Because he got subbed before the Man City scored, so he got a clean sheet against Man City. And then they ended up winning 2-0. So I got lucky with him because he came on for me off the bench to get me like 6 or 8 or 11 or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah,
good.
It was good. I think I was going to bring him in at one point. He was on my radar, but I never got round to it in the end. I did have Consa for a little while. That was okay. I think he got me a clean sheet in that, but yeah. It's probably a player I should have gone for at some point, but just didn't happen. So
Yeah, when we looked at this earlier, he got me more points than I thought. He did.
he was up there as like one of your biggest
main
kind of
it's
main
because he was
differentials.
low owned, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And it's not just that. I guess the one reason that me and you probably didn't jump on Target so soon, I definitely did have Target for quite a period. We had James Justin, so we didn't notice it.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, and then that was some of the game weeks where Gaz would get a clean sheet and get 6, and we'd be annoyed. But then Justin might go and get 11 because he got an assist and he got the bonus, and then you're just like, oh well, it's not a big deal, is it?
You didn't notice it as much. Yeah, it's true.
For example, if you had spent the season with just Target, Dallas, Trent, and James Justin for almost like the first half of the season, that's a solid back four that was getting you a lot of points. And then once Justin dropped out, if you just moved that Justin pick to Rafinha and played the Dallas, Target, and Alexander-Arnold for all the way for the run-in, you probably got a bollock load of points still.
Another one that's forgotten. I think Gaz had him, Lamptey.
Yeah,
before he got injured. Man. Yeah.
And then they kept rushing him back, and that was the problem. They desperately thought they needed him, kept rushing him back, kept blowing his hamstrings out, poor lad. And then he was done. You know, and then in the end, it turns out Veltman was a viable, replacement. They should have just let Veltman have a month and for Lamptey to recover.
Yeah.
It just didn't work that way.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. I was going to pick Soufal, but then we looked at the stats and Target actually made more of a difference. So, but Soufal, he was great.
Soufal was definitely close. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, players of the season for me. Soufal, he did great.
He created so many chances for West Ham. He just whipping in crosses left, right, and centre. It was mad. It was hard watch not owning him for the last few weeks. It's tough.
He definitely had a very strong finish to the season.
Big time, yeah.
But Target fell off a little bit, but yeah.
I mean, I think mine and Mike's talk for themselves. Mike's gone Trent and I've gone Dallas. So
did you have Dallas for the whole season? You had him in week 1.
Not the whole season, no. But yeah, the majority of the start, I dropped him in my wild card, annoyingly, because Leeds fixtures turned really bad, didn't they? They had like City, Liverpool, United, stuff like that. And obviously when they got that 17-pointer against Man City, so that really sucked. One thing you should do is maybe not drop people on fixtures. You should also do by form as well.
Yeah.
It always seemed like a dodgy one. Like he wouldn't get a clean sheet, but he might get a goal. But they even started getting clean sheets towards the end. So
I put Dallas in halfway through the season, and he ended up being one of my best defenders as well. So he was up there.
Unfortunately, he probably won't be a defender next year. He's probably going to be a midfielder. So that is a shame.
The problem is, though, is if he's a midfielder and he gets 8 goals like he did this season and like 6 assists, if he's 6 million, he's still a good pick, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
That'd be Rafinha type returns. So I'd still go for him or consider him.
Yeah.
It's just whether
it just wouldn't be as good.
If he pops up at 6.5, he's not viable anymore, is he? So
it's nice that he's a defender because technically he's a midfielder, but well, we hopefully they put him as a defender again next year, and then but I doubt it very much.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. But yeah. Do you want to say anything about Trent, Mike, or should we move on?
Trent's fantastic, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
When everyone else gave up on him, I just held.
I mean, he probably didn't have the season everyone expected him to.
No, but no one knew he had COVID until about game week 11, game week 12. He got, I think, a calf injury early on.
Mm.
And then everyone dropped him. And then someone went, oh, yeah. Klopp went, oh, he's had COVID. And then it was like, oh, right. And then I thought, well, just hold on to him. And then they were losing against like lower teams. And then I still just kept faith. And then he just turned a corner. Even when Liverpool didn't get a clean sheet, we still got 11 points. So that's all I really need to say about him.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point where me and Gaz were just kind of like, you've got to get rid of him. What are you doing?
Now it's the time. He just went, and then I think the Champions League was swaying you from getting rid of him because he was great in the Champions League and he was rubbish in the league, and you thought, I'm going to keep him because he's doing well in the Champions League.
Yes, that's essentially what kept me. That kept me hooked in because he was doing okay. And then I just thought, I can't get rid of him. And I guess that must have been so everyone else for. I mean, it's the same thing for Salah. I couldn't get rid of him. It's the same thing. And unfortunately, Salah, it didn't so much pay off. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's just such a differential at my rank. So,
yeah,
just lucky. Just one of those lucky picks that a premium that I kept when everyone was going, I can't justify 7 million on a defender. And then I said to you lot, I don't think there's anyone in that midfielder bracket of 7.5 that's worth keeping. So, but that's what it is.
If he has a good Euros, then he's definitely going in next season.
Oh, he'll probably be my number one on the team sheet anyway, because I expect his price to drop. So,
yeah,
if he goes to the Euros,
yeah,
if he goes,
tomorrow.
yeah, true. All right, midfielders. Oh, so speaking of Salah, Mike, you've gone Salah.
Yeah, there's not much really to say about Salah. I've just sort of dicked on him a little bit there, but he's still got 22 goals, and he's still got 200 plus FPL points. He's such a good value. He's absolutely essential for me. I've had him since like the first time when Liverpool signed him and Salah was 9 million. I've just never really thought of any need to drop him apart from injury. I just saw Salah play for Roma. I've seen him play for Fiorentina. I saw him play for Basel. The only time he had a bad time was when he was with Chelsea with Mourinho. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting him. And that's always been my mantra. It will always be Salah over Mane as well.
Yeah.
I love him.
Isn't it? That it does well for you. Just don't pick him every time. It's a bit like Kane, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Salah's just a lot more. I don't know. I seem to trust him more than any other player. I just know that if he doesn't get a return in 1 week, he'll get a return in another week. And the same with I guess the same for used to with Fernandes. I don't trust Fernandes for some weird reason. But
he's not as exciting as Salah.
No, he's not.
Fernandes kind of always looks
chances.
like he's not going to get anything, but then he just does. And it's obvious why Gaz has picked him. We looked at Gaz's stats, and Fernandes was, the top scorer. Basically, the big differential for Gaz. So,
yeah, I mean, see, the problem with Fernandes was I didn't start the season with him because he obviously didn't play game week 1. Then I had no intention of getting him in for game week 2 because I didn't have the same plan as used to. I wasn't wildcarding, and I couldn't find the money for him because I had started the season with Salah and Son, and that to me that seemed more than enough. And Calvert-Lewin was getting goals, so I just this will do. I think the only thing I started with in game week 1 was Werner, and then I immediately transferred him out, even though he got an assist. I was one of the only ones that didn't keep him. And yeah, I don't know. Fernandes, if I'd got him in earlier, I'd definitely be in a lot better position than my final end position was. But after I sold him in 25, I just didn't regret it. Whereas I think if I ever sell or was ever had to sell Salah, even if he was injured, I'd massively regret it. And I don't know why I have that feeling, but it's just, I don't know. He's just one of those players in the Premier League that I don't think we'll see for a long time again. He's just so consistent. And even when people are on him and going, Salah's having a bad one, but he still got an assist against Crystal Palace, and he still turned in a great performance that got Liverpool Champions League football. But because we were so expectant of him to get these high-end, like 9 out of 10 performances, we're all disappointed that he only got an assist. Weird, isn't it?
I was.
I mean, I definitely was as well, because I could have done with it. But
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see that on our team sheets, no matter what. That's for the start of next season. I'll probably have Salah, and used to. Well, Gaz will definitely have Fernandes, and then Russ, you'll waver between one of the two, or try and fit both in.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Might go Mane for a change.
I'll gamble and go Mane again, and then regret it.
To be honest, though, it wouldn't be a gamble, would it? Because with the Euros on, and I don't think there's any African Cups on, Mane is going to get a long rest, and he's got a point to prove after he got
and Salah
dropped.
Isn't it?
Salah's going to get a rest, but Mane is the one that seems to have the chip on his shoulder when he snubbed Klopp's thingy a couple of days ago. So if there was any that I would think that might carry that through into the new season, I think that might be Mane.
Yeah.
And at the same time, as much as I'm not trying to gear you away from Salah, but let's put it this way: if Salah says 12.5 million, but Mane's 11, I might be tempted to start with Mane as well, like you took.
Yeah, if the price difference, I mean, the price difference wasn't there this year. If Mane's price was less, then yeah, I could be swayed that way again. But
yeah,
I learned that this year, so I'd always pick Salah over Mane now.
I'd always pick him over there, but if the price difference is tempting enough, if it's a 1.5, 2.5 difference, I would just do it. And although I'd be annoyed if Salah started the season good, I just wouldn't do what you did and immediately sell him if he has a good second game week. It's just one of those ones, if you pick it,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Got to ride it. I mean, if De Bruyne is cheaper next year and Mane's cheaper, I'd definitely pair those two together, and I just have to go without Salah, because I know Son's going to be so expensive next year, and I'm not going to go near him. And then Fernandes, I'm expecting Fernandes. I mean, if he's the top scoring player, he's got to be 12.5, right?
Yeah, he'd be the 12. So he was 10.5 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way you're going to get him at that pricing, and that's a pipe dream. And De Bruyne, the only reason I think he might drop was because he had another long injury period again, didn't he? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the price releases, because some of them, like this year, they'll wind us up almost instantly. You go, where did you get that figure from?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Maddison's such a good 7 million player, right?
He did me well.
He did.
I had him.
Well.
Yeah, both me and Gaz had him in that little period where he was just scoring for fun and getting loads of points.
And there was another one like Lingard, wasn't he? He was out doing his XG.
Yeah.
Every shot, he only had like 6 shots and he had 6 goals. That's like a statistical anomaly. There's no way a player should be doing that, but he was.
Yeah. And then unfortunately he got that hip injury, and then I brought him back when he came back from that hip injury, and he's not been the same since.
No, it's just been stop-start from, isn't it, with the niggles.
Yeah, he let me down towards the end, but I didn't have a lot of midfield. I didn't have a lot of luck with midfielders this year. I mean, I had Salah. Salah did me well, but looking for everyone else, it's just bad.
You chopped and changed in midfield quite a lot. You had CX, you had Pulisic, you had...
Yeah, but nothing ever worked. Like, I was going to bring Ziyech in on that week where he got like a massive score.
And the Burnley goal and assist.
I didn't. I bought him in the week after, and he did get another massive score. And then I think he got injured.
Yeah.
And then when he came back, I brought him back in, but then he just weren't the same. And it was like, yeah. So
I had Grealish until he got injured, and then I didn't put him back in, but he was doing all right. But yeah, midfielders, you didn't have a lot of luck with midfielders.
Didn't. The only other two players I had down was Souček, but I missed out on points from him as well, where he's on my bench.
I missed so many
And
points.
Pereira, just because of like 2 game weeks where he got me recently. Yeah. And that's it. I don't think I had another midfielder who like really got me a good point score. Like, I mean, Rafinha was good for me, but the thing that tinted that was I had him on that double game week, and I think I captained him, and I was hoping for a big score. And I mean, it wasn't his fault. It was the fact that Roberts half the lead squad couldn't bloody finish.
Cooper missed 3 chances that should have been absolute goals, and he missed all 3, and it was so frustrating.
I mean, if they had scored them goals and Rafinha, he would have got me a monster haul then.
Oh, yeah.
He would have been the player there, but because of that, it ended up being Maddison. But
even one goal would have boosted you.
Just anything. I think he did score, didn't he, in the end? But
he did score, yeah. But
it could have been so much better.
It was the first game against Wolves. I think they lost 1-0, right? And it was
possibly.
He was putting in set pieces for Cooper, and Cooper, they were point blank, and he kept missing them. And I was just like, and I had him as well, like you, but I didn't have him captained. And it was just so frustrating to watch because, like, he's doing everything here to give Leeds the chance to win this, or at least snatch a draw, and it wasn't coming.
Yep.
But he's another one. I get a feeling he might be like 7.5 next year, and then when they're that price, and obviously teams are used to Leeds next season, they might not be such appealing options.
Oh yeah,
so you might not go near them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can all think of your team now, what you want for next season, but
it's the price.
You probably won't be able to afford it all.
No, but I just think if Rafinha has like a topsy-turvy thing at 7.5, I think you're more inclined to make a snap judgment and get rid of him or not having him. Whereas if he's 5.5, you're more forgiving.
Yeah.
Like Jack Harrison sneaked in as the top 5 scoring midfielder, and everyone was like, Jack Harrison was never owned by more than 300,000 FPL managers all season, even though the game from start was played by like New Orleans at 8 million. So Jack Harrison's the absolute epitome of differential, but no one still went for him. And I just think next year, because he did so well in FPL, he's going to be 6.57, and no one's going to go near him.
He just got a bit overshadowed by Dallas and Rafinha and Bamford.
But because Leeds are going to be found out, people are going to, we're guilty of it. We'll worry about second season syndrome. If they're like 7.5, 8 million, you'll be like, I can't justify that, really. I could go and get this player instead.
I'll be wary of them. I probably will have a Leeds player in next year. I mean, it all depends on the fixtures and stuff, and we'll see how they start. But
and who they buy. Obviously, if they buy well, like they did this season.
Yeah. But I could see myself having Rafinha or Bamford or...
I could be tempted by Melier if he's 4.5.
Yeah, or Melier, yeah.
It's a lot of saves.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the midfielders, I guess.
Yeah. Strikers, yeah. I think they're pretty standard.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much description. The only, I guess, with mine is that he certainly tailed off towards the second half of the season.
Yeah. Calvert-Lewin, yeah.
Yeah. Ollie Watkins, I only had for 12 weeks. I put him in my wildcard game week 26. I had him for 12 weeks. He had 8 returns in 12 weeks. It's loud.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, eight returns in 12 weeks. He only blanked 4 times, and that one of those was a red card. So
straight red. That was frustrating because that double game week, that second game, me and Gaz were so keen. We thought we were going to get some great points in that second game, and I think their second game was Palace.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It was. I know the second game was the easier fixture, And I was just kicking myself because I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I didn't sell him because obviously the second game was the only game he was suspended for. And then you're like, oh, I've got to keep him then. He's on form.
Yeah.
And because it was only like 4 days between each game week, you were just kind of like, I'll keep him. So as much as there was disappointment that he got sent off, because we both kept him because of that, we were like, oh, we might as well not take the hit. He actually still kept scoring us points.
Yeah. But there's strikers. There was quite a few I could have put in. Antonio did really well for me. Ings was good for me, not so much for Russ. But he did get returns. Vardy got returns. Iheanacho's was probably my most. On average, he got me the most points for the amount of weeks that I had him. I only had him for 4 weeks, but he got me 50 points.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think we all bought him at the same time, and we all sold him at the same time.
I think it might have been, or I might have got him a week later than you two.
So I think we all benefited from Iheanacho, but you couldn't not go there because he was on form. It's one of those players.
5.8 million. You know, a 5.8 million striker scoring that many points.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous,
yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing with Lingard. Same thing with Dallas. You know, you get a player at that bottom of the barrel price. You've got to go there. You've got to jump on it, even if you're just doing it for value. Because he ended up at I think I got 6.1, 6.2 from him. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that 0.4, then really, really, it's great for the end of the season, that extra value.
Yeah. I think by the time he'd come along, I'd already been burnt by the likes of Lingard and stuff. So it was like, I'm definitely getting Iheanacho, even if it's just to stop him scoring. The one I never got was Watkins. Though. I don't think I ever owned Watkins. He might be one of the first names on my team sheet next year, though.
Because I people were jumping on him after the Liverpool game, where he scored a hat trick. I didn't have him. I kind of just avoided him for a little bit because.
Yeah, well, I thought that might be like a flash in the pan, but
yeah. And there's a lot of games we kept getting goals disallowed because of VAR.
Yeah, and he was frustrating. He was missing a lot of chances initially as well. But
so I didn't go for him. I only went for him because he had a double in 26, and then I just kept him. But yeah, there's quite a few strikers that done all right. Kane, Vardy, Iheanacho, Antonio, but there was also quite a few that didn't. So
yeah, I mean, I had to have Kane. Kane was obviously probably my longest serving player. Got me the most points, but Bamford was very close. I did kind of want to have Bamford in here because he did me well as well.
Yeah, I had Bamford as well actually, but he only got me one return. I think it was that period where he was getting having loads of shots and chances and just wasn't
scoring. Yeah.
I only had him for about 4 weeks.
And like I said, that was one of the things with Bamford. He could have 1 week where he wouldn't get anything, and he might get hooked early. But then he'd go score. The next week he'd score like 2 goals.
Yeah. It didn't damage me as much, Bamford, as some other players did. But I tried it and it didn't work. So I went to after Bamford. I think I went to Antonio for a while, and then he got injured. So, but he also did quite well for me, Antonio.
Yeah,
got quite a few returns.
Yeah, he didn't do as well as last year, but he did enough. No. He did enough. Yeah.
There was quite a lot of strikers I picked. I just had to keep taking them out because they kept getting injured. Danny Ings, Antonio got injured a couple of times. Vardy got injured a couple of times. Kane, I put Kane in.
There was that few weeks where every player you put in got injured. It was like you were jinxing them or something.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, Watkins isn't too expensive. Next season, I'll probably go Watkins.
Yeah, I imagine his price will be higher, but I can't see him being that expensive, but
If Kane does go to City, his price will be like 12 or 13.
Kane was 12 this season, so he's likely to be 12.5, right? And then the problem with Watkins might be 8.5, 9. So it's going to be very difficult. Like, it's the same as last season. You're not going to get in everyone that you wanted.
Yeah,
no.
So it's going to be a balancing act, and then you've got to try and supplement or hope that you can pick one or two newly promoted teams. So like maybe the Pookie party starts again for all of us.
Oh yeah, be back, wouldn't
there again. not sure I'm going there again. Didn't work last season. But yeah, I think they're all pretty
good.
Yeah, all pretty. The Maddison one's a bit of a weird one because
yeah, but like I said, maybe Rafinha would have been a better one, but I don't know. I think I just enjoyed those few weeks where Maddison was getting me returns all the time, so it was nice.
Yeah.
Fond memories.
Yeah. And he got injured.
Yeah. Although it's hip, I can relate to that. You know, my hips are dodgy, so
Happens to the best of us, doesn't it? You get a niggle, you get rushed back too soon, and you get more.
We're like brothers from other mothers. That's what it is. But anyway, we should probably move on to. We've done our best picks, our worst picks now. I'll get straight into it. Goalkeepers. I'll start, I guess. Ramsdale. Probably
You've definitely got to talk first about Ramsdale because you persisted with that pick for so bloody long. I thought that was going to turn around.
Fairly long, but yeah, I did. I think I got tricked into where we had that break for COVID in the previous season. Sheffield United looked a bit dodgy. They come back and they looked a bit dodgy at first, and then they turned it around. And I kind of thought they might do the same thing, so I had him in from the start. They looked a bit dodgy, and I thought
they had Henderson then, not Rams.
Yeah, but I figured he'd be a good pick. I mean, even when he was, where was he before? And they went down. Bournemouth, yeah. When he was there, even though they went down and blah blah blah, he made a lot of saves. He got a lot of save points, so he was potentially one of those keepers that could have done well, but it just didn't happen, did it?
No.
And then obviously I hadn't gone Martinez, and I'd missed that, or I'd at least missed the start of that party. So yeah, it was very disappointed and coincided with my bad start to the season. So yeah, I mean, others that could have gone in there, Mendy could have definitely gone in there because that was annoying when I brought him in and he got benched for Kepa. So, but I think it had to be Ramsdale for me.
Yeah, you didn't. What did you have? You had Martinez. You had Johnston, Ramsdale. Did you have McCarthy?
No, I'd never go near McCarthy. I had him last year, and it haunts my dreams.
You didn't have any keepers, really.
No, not too many. No, yeah. So I didn't really. I wanted to try and have a keeper and keep him, but yeah, it didn't quite work out. But
no,
I put
engine with your sub keeper, and you just kept getting it wrong every week.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Till the point I was like, I'm definitely going to just go Martinez and Johnson's going to be my sub. And then I'm pretty sure you talked me into putting Johnston in again, and it backfired again. So I was like, oh, great. Yeah. Fun.
And yeah, speaking of McCarthy,
yeah.
I had McCarthy, but he was on the bench for most of.
I think for both you and Mike, he was your most bench player.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, so unfortunately, game week 1, my two goalkeepers were starting from game week 1 was Martinez, bench was McCarthy. So McCarthy came in as an auto sub, and then Martinez joined Villa, and I just was like, that'll do me. I'll give him a go. I'll give him a month's long go. I've got faith in both of them. Rolled with the dice, and I think Martinez saved a penalty in game week 3, got like 15 points, and I was like, this is it. I'm not giving up Martinez. And then McCarthy basically was bench fodder all the way through to nearly my second wild card. And then I just got rid of McCarthy because he wasn't playing because of Forster. And I just opted to bring in Pope. And from Pope, I moved to Lloris. And that's it. That's all. I've only ever had 4 goalkeepers. They've all had clean sheets. They've all had their merits. But McCarthy's been the most disappointing one, because when I started him over Martinez for like one of the double game weeks that Southampton had, or 2 of them, he got like 2 points. And Martinez went and got 10 points, played 1 game. So I was absolutely bloody livid. Other than that, there's not really much of a criticism. McCarthy bench fodder.
Yeah, he was. For me,
he was my worst of 4.
Yeah, same with me. I had McCarthy on the bench, and a lot of the times he was getting more points on my bench than my actual keeper. But then when you did put him in, he got like 2. So he was literally just because he was cheap. He was the only starting goalkeeper. He was the cheapest starting goalkeeper out of all the 20 teams, I think, before Martinez joined Villa. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't really fancy. The 4.5s. There wasn't a lot to really go for this year. Melier wasn't really favoured, was he? And yeah, McCarthy was the best of a really bad bunch.
Yeah, he was bad. But yeah, I've gone for Schmeichel because I brought him in on my wild card, gave it 26 for Mendy, and he only got me 2 returns in the last 12 game weeks.
Yeah.
So it was 2 or 3, I think, it worked out in the end. So yeah, not great. He did better in the cup than he did in the league.
Oh,
yeah,
he's amazing in the cup.
You can tell Hasenhüttl lost faith in McCarthy, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. Like the 9-0 loss against Man United, that wasn't McCarthy's fault. I mean, the youth player got sent off after like 2 minutes, and then Southampton clearly gave up, and McCarthy was trying his best. But McCarthy is at fault for some. He can make some glaring, mistakes. Like in game week 2 against Tottenham, he made 1 or 2, and Russ was livid when he see him make them. Because they're bad. He goes like a wonder, and he just,
Yeah. I mean, I think you're a bit behind us because Gaz was talking about Schmeichel, but...
Oh, God, I'm really sorry. I must have been lagging. It must have tailed off for a second because I was still hearing Gaz talk about McCarthy. My apologies.
Gaz said Schmeichel did well in the cup, and then you went, yeah, McCarthy.
I thought you meant McCarthy because obviously Southampton got really far.
Nah.
I was going to say, that's my bad. Sorry. Yeah, I must have hit a lag spike there. I've caught up now, though, because, you are clearly laughing at me.
Yeah. Which is fun.
That's fun, isn't it? I just must have lost a whole 10, 15-second segment of Gaz talking.
So, I mean, you're probably getting tired. We have been going for 2 hours now.
Oh, there you go. See.
Yeah, we probably should have broke this recording up.
Oh, well.
But, well. We're nearly there now, anyway.
Nearly there, yeah. But yeah. Schmeichel didn't do very well for me.
You're just lucky you benched him for game week 38 when he scored an own goal, got -2.
I'm not having Schmeichel as my goalkeeper for the last week. And I was right. And I put in Casilla for 1 week because Melier was dropped. That pissed me off as well. Because Melier, I brought in Melier specifically for the running, Leeds' running, and he got dropped for the final 2 games.
Bielsa, though, was quite... it was slightly more refreshing this season because he basically told you his lineup in the early game weeks. He was basically like, I'm playing these. What of it? Like, balls out, not caring. And then, obviously, once we moved into the latter part of the season, he said, I can't do that anymore because of whatever. And you're like, okay. But then he would say things like, oh, well, I've given Cleek and Llorente the final 2 games off because they need a rest before the Euros. And you're like, that's pretty stand-up of you. No one else is doing that with their players.
No.
And then he just went, oh, yeah, Casillas going to play the last 2. Meslier can have the time off as well. And it was just like, yeah, all right. That's mad, but fair enough.
Yeah, it actually helped me.
But at least there's no mind games. It's not like Pep Guardiola. Like he doesn't tell you anything. You don't know who's going to play. Like, just come out and tell us you won the league anyway. Just say, I'm going to play this team. I'm going to do this.
Clearly no guessing game. I guess the one thing that would have been an absolute benefit is obviously if a lot of people had just picked Casillas on their wild card with Meslier, you would have had both your Leeds keepers. Meslier is only like 4.6 and Casillas was like, what, 4.1? You would have had so much more money saved. Not that I guess we needed extra money, but if you needed that extra little bit of saving to squeeze some money out, like for me, for example, I could have sold Lloris for Casillas and had 1.5 million in the bank. So
I'm definitely tempted next year to just go for the double up on a team.
I mean, if you can get one where the value's better, if you can get a 4, 5, and a 4, that's the optimum.
That's good.
I mean, if you have to take 2 4 5s, it's not great, but it's okay, I guess. I'd much prefer, I guess, if I was gonna do it, it would probably be Leeds. I think I would do Meslier and Casillas. If Casillas got dropped in price and Meslier stayed at 4 5, so it was 8.5 total, I'm inclined to do that. But if not, I guess I just, I normally don't like putting more than 9 million in my keepers, but I don't buy into the idea that some people do, where they do a 5-5 keeper or more, and then they do a 4 million from a different team, and I'm just like, oh, that's got risk written all over it. Like the other week when they had Mendy and Forster, and neither of them played. So
to Russ, didn't it?
That was me. Yeah, that was me.
There you go. I mean, that's just it. That seems like a mad risk, I'd rather just have 2 4 5s, or as you're coming around to the idea, just 2 from one club.
Yeah,
I think it suits better that way.
The only problem with that is, you've obviously used 2 spaces up, so it depends if that club has any other players.
You definitely don't want an Aston Villa one or the club that's in form.
Yeah.
So it would have annoyed you. I guess for Leeds, it would have no one did it because they wanted outfield players for Leeds, but maybe Brighton, if you didn't really mind that Brighton still kept a fair amount of clean sheets. Sanchez was 4-5 and still ticking over after he took thingy spot. I don't see Sanchez not being their main keeper. He's just been called up to the Spain squad now.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, so I
to Arsenal anyway. I think Arsenal saying we're getting Ryan will make his deal permanent.
I mean, that could be the case as well. See, so I'd say there's a case for if the double up for Brighton, it would be Sanchez and their backup keeper, which I think is Steele. So that could be a 4-5 and a 4.
That'd be good.
So yeah, I think it's just you need to pick a team that can get you clean sheets and get save points, but also that you don't want to block yourself out. I kind of did it with Villa, didn't I? When used to had Grealish, I'd kind of block myself out because I had Martinez and I had Vasilev, so I was.
Oh yeah.
I went to Watkins, so I couldn't get to Grealish because I had Vasilev and Watkins.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful with those dead weight picks or those bench fodder picks.
Yeah, so if you do it from some like a newly promoted team or something, the one that's doing the worst.
Yep. Yeah. Right. Well, defenders.
Well,
I mean, both me and Gaz have gone for Man U players, but probably for similar reasons. But so I to pick these, I looked back over all the game weeks to see, and I mean, I put Luke Shaw in towards the end of the season, and again, he did bugger all for me. I think he probably got like 2 points in like 3 games, something ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, he got 2 points in the trip, didn't he? I mean, and I started him for that, and that was infinitely depressing.
And I thought to myself, maybe I'm just making a meal out of it. But when I look back over my game week, I realised I had him in from the start, or I had him in from game week 2. And I got, I think, 1, 0, -2, 1, and then I think I sold him because I'd had enough by then. So, yeah, he's just absolutely shocking. I think he's had a few good game weeks this season, and obviously he's if you're not playing FPL, he's done all right. But oh my god, what a frustrating FPL pick.
I mean, he was frustrating at the beginning of the season. I fared a bit better than you because I had him for a bit longer towards the end of the season. So I got a couple of ones out of him where I got 8s and 9s, possibly 11.
I think I might have put him in like on my free hit or something as well. And yeah, again, point. And I think I did it last season as well. And he did the same to me. So every time I put him in, he gets a point. Drives me insane. Not again. He's on my list. He's the top of my list of going in.
He's definitely making the list, your list, like Gaz's list now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a finite list. He's not going in at all, ever.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Similar with me, similar story. I put in Wan-Bissaka on my wild card game week 2. I had him for 4 weeks. 2 of the weeks he was on the bench. He scored a 6 and 8. The 2 weeks I had him in my team, he got 0 and -1. Yeah, he's one of the worst picks I ever put in. But then in the end, he ended up being like the 4th or 5th most points.
Yeah, I mean, over the Christmas period, if you took a gamble on him, he got like a goal and an assist in one game. We got 17 points, and he got 2 assists the next week. He was a really, really good, solid player to have. And also, as we've spoke a lot about rotation with goalkeepers and defenders, Wan-Bissaka's the only right back they've got. So you knew he was nailed on. Luke Shaw wasn't. So me and Russ suffered with that every so often with Tellez getting bought in. But yeah, it was
a really bad start. Wan-Bissaka had a really bad
start. Both Manchester clubs just had a bad start, period. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka was one that if you kept, or you just was like rode the wave, like I did with Alexander-Arnold, he wasn't a bad pick, Not for 5.5 million anyway.
Yeah, I just had him at the start, and it just went completely wrong from the get-go. So that's it. Didn't go for him ever again.
Stuck him on the list.
I could put him in, but I'm just not going to go there. I had Soufal anyway, so it's fine. I didn't need a right-sided defender.
I mean, I think I said it the other week. He doesn't get many attacking returns, and literally the week after I said that, he got 2 assists. But yeah. But I didn't think he did. He's more of a defensive player.
Yeah, everyone writes Wan-Bissaka off as that, and then he just actually...
But when he's at Palace, it wasn't so much. He did seem like a more attacking defender then. So, yeah, it's weird.
He just flies under the radar at United, I guess, because they've got better attacking fullbacks, and they've got Rashford and Greenwood and Fernandes, etc.
Yeah.
So you just kind of dismiss Wan-Bissaka, even when like I said, he got like 17 points in one game week. People were still looking at Luke Shaw and going, "Oh well, Luke Shaw got 11." You're like, "Yeah, but Wan-Bissaka got 17." You're like, "Oh yeah, but that's just a one-off." And then he did it the week later, and then he did it 2 weeks after that, and he's like, "Oh jeez."
Yeah. But you've got Azpilicueta. I mean, you kind of made a noise at our picks, but that's a bit of a weird pick as well. I'm pretty sure he did well for some weeks.
Azpilicueta did great for other people. Azpilicueta did great for Chelsea if you got on Chelsea early. If you got on Chelsea when Gaz got on Chelsea, Azpilicueta wasn't playing as regular under Lampard because Lampard was playing Reece James there. But once Tuchel came in, Azpilicueta became a mainstay. And it probably is one of the things that cost Lampard his job, because as a captain, it seems that Azpilicueta absolutely inspires them, controls them, and can get them moving. And yeah, if you had him early on, you were getting clean sheets every week, bonus points. He got goals here and there, and a couple of assists. I got him in game week 33. Up to 36, he didn't play 2. He got 2 points in 1. I mean, I think 33 was, or it's 32. I got him in. I got him in when they lost to West Brom 5-2.
He got 0.
Yeah.
He got 0 in that one. He literally got 2 points the week after because they won 2-1, and then he got 0 points because he got dropped for the next one that I thought he was going to play, which was Brighton. And then he got a 8-pointer after that, which I did play him for. But one return for a man I took a hit to bring in, 10 points over 4 game weeks, is not a good return. And as much as I chopped and changed my defenders quite a lot this season, but the only person that ever come close to matching that for bad picks was either Ike Nuri, who I guess I cut more slack because I knew he was going to be on the bench most of the time, and I got a clean sheet out of him too. And Kilman, again, another Wolves player. But I couldn't really... I mean, Kilman got me quite a few times where he only got 1 or 2 points, but I think we got him in for, 3.9 million? Because he dropped in value. Can you really call him the worst pick of the season if I'm putting a 3.9 million in my starting defence and hoping for clean sheets? That's on me, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Whereas Azpilicueta was nearly 6 million, and it was one of those picks I clearly missed it. I clearly missed his hot streak. Got caught in that mixture of Chelsea rotation for Champions League and Chelsea obviously deciding, Chelsea just having Thiago at the back, really. I mean, them being shit. I mean, that's the only reason they lost to West Brom. Let's be honest. They were dominating West Brom, and then Thiago was just an absolute lunatic. And he was earlier in the season against West Brom as well, Thiago. So apparently when he plays them, he's just toilet water. So yeah, that's the only reason I really went with Azpilicueta. I could have gone Luke Shaw the same as you, but that was one that I did get quite a few points off because I bought him in a little earlier. And obviously towards the end of the season, used to were doing okay for Green Arrows. I wasn't. I was sort of treading water, and the only reason I was treading water was because my back line consisted of Alexander-Arnold, Luke Shaw, and then I think it was one other defender that was keeping clean sheets quite a lot, and they were basically dragging me over to the finish line. So
I should have put him in, then he would have got 1.
Yeah, you probably should have. You would have absolutely tanked my season.
Yeah. I mean, this last time I put him in, I thought I'm going to ride with it. I thought he's bound to get a return at some point because, man, you had good fixtures as well. But
I mean, you're not misplaced. I mean, the fact that he only got 2 points from a triple game week still irks me. I'm just lucky that.
I forgot about that. Jesus.
I'm just incredibly lucky that I knew something was going to happen with Man United in that triple game week. And I was like, yeah, something really bad's going to happen to them. They're going to be really poor. So I better bring someone else in for a hit. And I couldn't get to Fernandez, who obviously most captained by a country mile for that game week. And then I just thought, well, screw it. I'll go for Greenwood. And that's the only thing that saved me. Because if I had only gone into that triple with Luke Shaw, I would have got 2 points from 3 games. And how sort of depressing would that be? Like the first triple game week in like nearly 10 years, and all you can show for it is 2 points. You know? And he started 2 of those games. It's not like he only played 1. He started 2 of them.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. See? It was a good pick, wasn't it? a good worst pick. Frustrating as hell.
And then also as well, Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, we picked, not me personally, but you two picked him quite a lot in your predictions as well, and they only got 1 or 2 in that as well.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I made the mistake with Wan-Bissaka. I always picked him in my predictions when United had easier games. But what I should have done is I should have picked him when United were playing top 6 teams, because we discovered United against top 6 teams drew 0-0, and all the defensive players got 2 bonus points. In the easy games, they always conceded. Like West Brom, they went 1 down early on, didn't they? And then it was 1-1.
It was the whole thing this season, weren't it? They come out rubbish, conceded, and then they came back. That's what they did. So, yeah. Yeah, they're not the. I mean, you used to be able to trust Man U to get clean sheets, but no more.
I learned from last season, just don't ever pick Man U defenders.
Yeah,
just don't.
I should have learned that from last season as well.
If they sign another centre back this summer, I might be inclined to have one. I just don't know if it would be Luke Shaw. It'd probably be Wan-Bissaka.
No,
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
go.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
There you go. There's a potential differential from me to use to early on.
Yeah.
John Stones, mate. John Stones can play football.
He can play football. Don't worry about
that. That's next season. I might just go triple Man City defence.
I tell you what, though, you'll go Diaz and you watch after winning player of the season and all of that. I bet you he gets rotated so much next season it drives everyone mental.
Probably. Yeah. Laporte will get more games.
Laporte will get more, or Ake. Suddenly just start getting games galore, and you're like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Man City, moving on to midfielders, I've got with Mahrez for my worst pick.
That's because you got him in immediately after their hat trick, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was early on in the season, I think, or towards the middle, and he got that hat trick, and then Pep said, "Oh yeah, he's playing so good, I'm definitely going to play him." So I got him in. I think it might have been a double as well. And I got him in and captained him. And I think he did get a small return, but it wasn't massive. And then and maybe he didn't play one of the games, and that's what happened. So, yeah, just frustrating. I was hoping it was going to be one of those like massive points hauls. I captain him, I get like a big return, and didn't happen. Yeah. But he's kind of in here as a, what's the word? He's flying the flag for all Man City players this year, because it's been frustrating as hell trying to work out which ones are going to play and when. And I mean, I suffered it in game week 38 as well, because I went Torres as a gamble, and he came on for like 5 minutes. So
again, that's another one that you brought in after a hat trick, and it seemed like he was going to be nailed on, because Guardiola never plays a full strength side in the last game before thingy.
Yep.
Before the Champions League, and he got hooked after 40 minutes, didn't he, Torres?
He didn't like start.
On paper,
he must have come on.
Oh, he must have come on then. But I mean, that would seem like, and I've fallen for that trap as well, like with Kyle Walker and Cancelo. That's why I snapped earlier in the season. I just had both. So I was like, balls to it. If I can't pick it right, I'll just have both of them, and one of them will get me something.
Yeah, it works in that position. I mean, close behind Mahrez was Foden, because I put Foden in at one point, because we all thought he was going to play loads this season.
Oh, it's because Guardiola was gassing him up.
And I mean, he's been great, but it's in and out. It's like
one or 17.
Yeah.
So he's one of those ones that you have to ride the wave. You go, yep.
The amount of players there, if they were in any other team, they're playing every week, you'd pick them, but you just can't go near them.
No, I mean, even De Bruyne's not safe from that rotation, which is,
No. Exactly. So, yeah, it's just frustrating.
I mean, the worst thing about Mahrez, though, is that after that hat trick, Guardiola said like he's on his team sheet number 1, blah blah, and then he started messing with Mahrez, and then it absolutely killed Mahrez's confidence, like absolutely destroyed it, and he was so bad for like a couple of months after that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does seem sometimes that Guardiola, he can instantly kill a guy's confidence by just doing the absolute worst thing to a player, going, "Oh yeah, well thanks for that hat trick. Anyway, you dropped now, son."
They won the league though, so
Oh, they did with the league. I'm not questioning his methods. I'm just saying as a way with a player, in terms of their morale, that can shatter their morale. There's nothing worse than it must be on par with getting hooked after like 20 minutes of a game starting, like Eric Dyer did last season.
Yeah, that's not good.
So,
yeah,
just mad, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, you've gone Souček, Mike. I mean, he's been a great player this year, but yeah, I imagine it's because he's been on your bench when he's been
instrumental. He's been absolutely. He's got 11 goals for West Ham, a couple of assists, endless bonus points. I think he's got 2 own goals as well. That's how good Souček is.
Yeah,
you don't fuck about.
A red card that shouldn't have been a red card.
Yeah, a red card that shouldn't have been.
The worst refereeing decision that's ever been made.
We got I forgot about. He got 0 points that week, didn't he? And he clearly didn't get a red card.
Yeah, wasn't his fault. That was bloody what's his name, Mike Dean.
Yeah,
being useless.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not anything personal against him. It's not anything. It was just a bad pick for me because I bought him in, and he's one of those players. Like I said, sometimes when you leave points on the bench, you don't mind it if they're under 5-5, and that is true. But the problem is with Souček, it was happening every other week.
Yeah,
I left a 17-pointer from him on the bench. I think it was a 9-pointer, 11-pointer, another 9, and I just was so frustrated in the end. I sold him, so I didn't have to see it anymore. I still wasn't getting those points. But I had to get rid of him because it was breaking me up. There was a game week where I think I left 27 points on the bench, and 15 of that was Souček, and I was just like, oh, I mean, just frustrating, and it was just my picks.
I wonder how many of your 366 bench points was Souček.
I wouldn't be surprised if a good 1/5 of them are his, 60 plus points.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I'm sure it's up there because I had him for such a long period. I bought him in as a replacement for Bowen, I believe, because Bowen got injured. And it seemed like a smart shift because Bowen had got a fair few returns but slowed down a little bit, and Souček had just raced on ahead. And yeah, but then I just kept going, oh, it's Souček, isn't it? He's a box-to-box mid. Box-to-box midfielders don't get 10 goals a season. They're like Kante-esque. They get you sometimes the odd bonus or the odd assist or the odd goal, not superstar sort of status, 2 own goals as well.
Yeah.
Both he scored an own goal, he scored at the other end as well.
Against Arsenal and against Thingy. See, so he's just, such a player.
Points.
What a good signing. Great signing with West Ham, getting him on loan and then making it permanent in the summer. But just, he was the pinnacle of how bad I was at decision making for starting lineups.
But
so
he was supposed to be everyone's kind of bench fodder in a way, I guess.
But you couldn't bench him.
But in the end, you couldn't bench him.
No. And I couldn't make up my mind because I needed to bench him because of the lineup I had. Because I usually had Calvert-Lewin, Kane, and Watkins, or Bamford, Kane, or Watkins, and so I couldn't physically fit Souček in, and that's why I sold him. I was just like, I've got to, just for less stress, just go.
I think he did the same to me a couple of times. I mean, I did get some of the points from him, but I think he scored in the first game week, so he was one of my regrets from game week 1, where I was going to put him in, and I didn't.
So I didn't. I was okay. I didn't mind it. I still thought West Ham were going to get relegated after.
Oh no, actually they were rubbish. They were rubbish the first game, weren't they? They lost to Newcastle. I think.
Yeah, it was 3-0, wasn't it? Or something like that. I think Andy Carroll got an assist.
And it was like, oh, West Ham are done. They're going down. And then they turned it around massively.
But,
yeah.
Ridiculously.
Yeah. Well, maybe I took him out on my wild card. I'd have to check, but yeah. Frustrating.
It's just frustrating because of my me being inept, not the player.
Mm.
He had such a stellar season, and I missed all of it because I'm stupid.
I don't think I had many like that where I've put a player in and then they got loads of points on the bench. Apart from obviously Grealish, most of the players I benched actually did come on.
Yeah, which
Got
is
me-
lucky for you. I just didn't have that sort of
Salah,
fortune where.
Watkins, like players like that. Eze, just got lucky with my bench, but didn't get lucky with Traore, did I? Game week 2, put him in game week 2. I had him for 4 weeks. He got 2, 1, 1, 1.
Wow.
He came on for Grealish that game week 4. That was the last. I think that might have been the last week I had him. He came on for 5 minutes, was it? And Grealish got 24 points on the bench one. And Traore came on as a sub. That's when
I mean,
Nuno
that just
was
makes it even worse, doesn't it? When you're
well,
like, I
Wrong.
could get the player on, and and then it's like, here's a 5-minute cameo.
It's
Unlucky.
just it's picking the right lineup. It's also not picking the wrong bench order, and it's just sometimes just
wrong.
ignoring certain things. Like this season, because of the no crowds, I didn't weigh into factors like away teams wouldn't be so intimidated, or they wouldn't go and play so defensively, and things like that. And you notice the difference when, even for the last 2 game weeks, when the home fans were there, some away teams did revert back to original behaviours, which was playing more defensive and not taking as many risks. And so, it was that. It was just purely stupidity on my part for some picks. I mean, who leaves 400 points on their bench? Jesus.
Yeah. I put Traore in. It was when they sold Doherty, they hadn't bought Semedo yet, and they were playing Traore at right wing back, and he just wasn't getting any points. 2, 1, 1, 1. So worst midfielder I ever picked.
It was just, I mean, the problem with Wolves is I get the feeling they wanted younger wing backs to play in that 5, and I get it. So they brought Ait Nuri in to potentially supplement Johnny, because Johnny was still recovering from major injury. But then they sold Doherty, fine. He went to Tottenham. Not been great. And then they brought in Hoover from Liverpool for I think Liverpool sold him for a reduced rate so Liverpool could get Jota. And then you knew it was going to take a long time for them to gel. And then, Traore got moved to wing back, and he doesn't really know the defensive side of the game. That he's known for blistering pace, so he's kind of like an Aurier in that sense, that he's bad for defending, but he'd be okay in the final third. And then I guess Traore got found out even more once they lost to Menez. That was it, really, wasn't it, for Traore? There was no one that could get on the end of anything that he put in the box. So I'm not surprised you've put him in there. Really, it was a tough season for him. After the season before, where he was so good, the rumours were Man City were going to pay like 80 million for him to go to end in this season, where I think in the last 3 games, I think he sat on the bench twice.
Yeah,
it's quite. I'd say it's quite a disappointing season for him.
He
did make the Spain squad.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's one of those players where, when you're watching it, he looks like he's going to do something, and you thought, got to get him in, and then he just gets you 2 or 1 every week. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. Maybe next year, new manager, we'll see something else. What happens?
Bit like Sam Maximan. He looks so good. He looks like he's going to do something, and then he just gets 1.
Sam Maximan could be great, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets like a good rest, and then Callum Wilson is now fully bedded in, he could be awesome. Let's be honest.
definitely is similar. I think St Maximan's probably better. He's probably more of an intelligent footballer.
I think he is, and I think the players around him for Newcastle react a little better. So Wolves, they're kind of expecting Traore to do all of it, whereas Newcastle, the one thing that is happening with Sam Maximan, if he's like opening spaces up by drawing lots of defenders to try and tackle him, Willock and everyone else are moving into those gaps. I mean, Joe Linton got a fair few goals from from trickery from Sam Maximan. So you're probably right. He's probably a more accomplished and complete player. He's funnier on Twitter as well.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I love Sam Maximan on Twitter. He's great. And he always refers back to the guy, the Newcastle fan that got banned, I think it was last season, season 4.
Right.
The guy that pulled his willy out of the FA Cup and started spinning it around after he got that late goal. He calls him Willy Copter. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard a French guy say, Willy Copter. Brilliant.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Willy Bolly.
I love Willy Bolly.
Well, we should probably move on to strikers, I guess. I can't handle the Willy jokes. Vasilev, Mike. That's a really weird one.
It's not really weird.
That's just your own fault.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Vasilev, like I said to you, is my strikers this season has been Calvert-Lewin, Kane, Vasilev, Bamford, and Watkins. And I think I had Bruyne game week 1 and he got an assist. So that can't really count as a bad pick because I deliberately sold him. And then I've had Martial. I've had Martial for 1 week and I sold him too because I think he got injured. Whereas Vasilev is the only one out of those strikers that I've had and he didn't get me any points.
That's because he didn't play.
and he wouldn't play because he was out on loan at Burton Albion for the first half of the season.
Yeah, I mean it's not really his fault.
It isn't his fault. Essentially, I'm basically saying my worst striker was bench fodder because there was no one else. Because the only other 2 options was Marcelo played 1 game and got me 2, or Werner, who played me the first game against Brighton. He got me 5 or 6. I think he got me 6. I think he got a bonus point. And that's not really a bad pick, I guess. If he would have been bad if I'd carried him at any other point throughout the season, but I didn't want him after that. I saw him in the Brighton game, went, I think he's going to struggle. And reality is he didn't actually struggle. As we got through saying, he's had 15 goals disallowed due to offsides or fouls. So
yeah, although some of them outrageously offside, like he really shouldn't have been offside.
Oh yeah, some of them it's just a learning curve. With I don't want to say the English game's faster because it's not. I think he's just language barrier. He's struggling to adapt. You can see his confidence has been hit a bit. He's been played slightly out of position because I think for Leipzig he played all the way down the middle, but Chelsea have insisted on putting him on the left. I mean, it's quite bad for Werner when Havertz has been the one being played as down the middle, and Havertz doesn't even play there either.
Yeah. So you gone for Vasilev?
That was all I had. It was just I had a really good season for striker picks. So it's unfair on the lad, I know.
It is unfair.
I'm sure next season I will have an endless amount of disappointing strikers, so I'll make up for him. Maybe Vasilev will hit the ground running with Villa next season, and maybe he'll be my best striker. Let's hope so.
Yeah. You never know. But Gaz has gone for me. Right?
Yeah, I'm the opposite, Mike. I had quite a lot of strikers that didn't do anything for me.
Join the club.
I was sport for choice. I had list of at least 4 strikers that I'd put in that didn't get me any returns. But I've gone for Firmino because I put him in, didn't get me a return, took him out, but then I put him back in again, and he still didn't get a return. So there's a double whammy with him.
Pretty sure you took him out, he scored, you brought him back in. So yeah, it was that kind of story.
He definitely has scored points for Gaz though, because we looked.
Yeah, he only scored me 10 points. That was 5 twos.
Well,
5 of 2.
Still not bad, I guess. It depends how you look at it. I mean, I guess Firmino's awkward because he's 9.5 million. So he's not an appealing price point. And so when he does only get like a 2-pointer, you just feel so annoyed because that's such an expensive price.
Yeah.
I mean, bearing in mind 9.5 was what Son's starting price was this season.
Yeah.
I think Firmino's one that I'd never get. He's on the list with Luke Shaw.
No, I mean, if he was 8 million next season, I'd consider getting him in here and there, but I don't think he would be one that I'd have and I'd keep throughout. Not now. They've got Jota as well.
Not over 9 million. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's never been appealing for him for like the last 2.5 seasons or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's loads of others I could have put Chris Wood in there. Chris Wood didn't get me a return, so I had him for 3 weeks. He got 2 every week. Martial got 2 twice. Cavani, I put him in for 1 week. He got 2. So there's a lot of strikers that I tried, and they just went straight back out of the team again. So, but Firmino, I did persist him, and it just still didn't get anything. So, yeah,
fair enough. Just reminded me, yeah, Cavani. Cavani's another one I could have had. Yeah, he definitely burnt me in. One that I kind of took a punt on, brought in for like maybe Man, you had a double, and he got a point. Very annoying. But I've got
weird thing.
Go on.
Also, Richarlison I could have had in there because I put him in my free hit and he got 1.
I was going to say the weird thing about Cavani is,
he looks like the Crow.
I mean, you keep saying that, and then you say the Crow's real name, and it blows my mind every time because I forget because the film's so long since I've seen it.
Eric Draven.
Yeah. Cavani's seen as quite a lot of pundits as like one of the signings of the season, and he's got 10 goals, 3 assists. And I understand he was on a free transfer, and United needed another striker and obviously losing Martial to injury. But Gareth Bale come in on loan, and Tottenham don't even pay nearly like half his wages. And Bale got 11 goals and 2 assists, but he's seen as a monumental failure. And Bale didn't even play half the season because Mourinho kept insisting that he wasn't fit. It's just, it just blows my mind sometimes how some players are declared like signings of the season. They've done substantially, about the same sort of returns as another player. But one seen as an absolute.
Varney was a January signing though. He only signed in January.
Did he?
Yeah. Whereas Bale signed in summer.
Did he only come in? I'm sure they had him before January. I'm absolutely certain he played in December.
Pretty sure he's a January window signing.
Look, I was sure he come in towards the end of the first window, the summer window.
But I think if you're, I mean, I don't think he was a what's the word?
No, he come in late. He started in game week 6. Cavani.
Oh, didn't he have to quarantine or something? Or
yeah, he had to quarantine and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't say he was a signing of the window or anything like that, but I think he has done a good job.
Thinks he's like the sign of the season and stuff like that, and it kind of, it's weird, isn't it? How certain players, Cavani and Bale are similar sort of player. You would say they're the other side of 30. They've been bought in they're not running the channels. They're not giving you, endless amounts of running every game. They've been bought in for a specific job,
I think you've got to say Cavani's done better than Bale though, because you would have expected Bale to come in and maybe get Tottenham higher up the table or a trophy.
I think you would, but the rumours are that
it's probably not his fault. It's probably Mourinho's fault. Well, it's
Mourinho
definitely
didn't want
Mourinho's
him.
fault. But
eventually, it's just that the call for Bale got too loud, and then Bale got given, begrudgingly, like games like against Wickham in the FA Cup, and then it was in the Europa League, and then it was just beyond the point then that he could not overlook the fact that he needed to pick Bale for the league, and then he did, and then he was great, and then Mourinho, every game that Bale played and did really well, he kept playing it down again by going, "Oh yeah, well, he can't play 2 games in a row."
And he played him until he had a bad game, and then it was like, no, you dropped.
Yeah, he immediately made everything about that Arsenal loss Bale's fault. And I understand that Bale left Doherty sort of exposed for a lot of it, but he knew Bale was going to play like that, so he should have set our midfielder up. Our midfield difference. So play 4-3-3 and have 3 midfielders like Sissoko. And Sissoko, I mean, most of our fans hate him, but he could have played that role behind Bale to work the channel, but he didn't. And then Bale was the scapegoat. That's what cost Mourinho his job in the end. He just kept scapegoating certain players every match.
Yep.
And it's disappointing because I seeing Bale come back to the club was like a fairy tale. Watching that at deadline, and let's make no mistake of it. If we hadn't lost so badly and so poorly to Everton, half those players wouldn't have come in. So Calvert-Lewin literally did Tottenham a favour. And then, I mean, it was an absolute dream seeing him come back, and I was looking forward to seeing him play so much. And then I didn't get to see him until December? And then all that we kept hearing was Mourinho insisting he wasn't fit. And then Bale did that really bloody mad interview where he basically said that he referred to himself like he was like a 65-year-old man. He was like, yeah, my legs are gone now. I can't really run like I used to. And you're like, you're 31. What are you going on about? You're Gareth Bale.
Well,
shut up and play. I guess that's another reason why he's looked as like a disappointing signing, because he made that really bizarre post-match. I mean, it's not as bad as Allardyce's one the other day, but I mean, it was up there because I remember it. But sorry, I've gone on a little tangent now.
Another Tottenham tangent.
Another Tottenham tangent.
I can't help it.
Might be Tottenham next season.
Oh yeah, Danny Ings. Yeah,
he might be.
Might be the Kane replacement.
Would that make you more inclined to pick him or less?
No. He's not completely on my list yet, and he's just like Mahrez. He's flying the flag for Southampton strikers, because the problem with Ings and Che Adams was I always had him in at the wrong time. So I think I started with Che Adams, Ings scored. I got Ings in, Che Adams scored, and it was just repeat. I don't think I had one of them in when they scored.
He got
proper annoying
as well. He got injured.
I guess with Southampton, you should have just done what I did with Man City defenders. You should have just bought both of them, started them both, and went balls to it.
Yeah, I probably should have done.
The price wouldn't have been that bad, right? I mean,
no, because Che Adams is pretty cheap, but
he was like 6 million, wasn't he? And he dropped down a couple of points as well.
Yeah,
and Ings is only 8.5. I mean, Ings was definitely an awkward price this season. That's why I don't think I ever went for him.
Yeah, he's in between, wasn't
he? You either went with him and stuck with him, or you couldn't. I couldn't find the funds to get to him for punts every week. Like, you can find the money to get to Bamford or Watkins at that sort of 6.5 mark, but you can't find the funds for 8.5 unless you've got 2 frees or you're holding some money in the bank all the time, which is a couple of mil. And
Calvert-Lewin, he was only 7, wasn't he, at the start?
yeah, he was 7, and then he jumped up significantly. Yeah, it was there were better options for budget strikers, so Ings just kind of got froze out, and then Hasenhüttl kept not playing him during double game weeks, which was frustrating. I think you deliberately took a hit for him, Russ, to get him in for one double.
I got him in for one double, and then I think he got injured after 9 minutes.
Yeah. And then the second double, though, you didn't fall for it again, even though you said you were tempted, and he did get he didn't play the first game, and then he come on, or he only played 59 in the second.
Possibly.
You luckily avoided that one.
Yeah. Well, maybe I started to learn my lesson by then, but he always just seems tempting because he'll hit a streak of form and he'll score like goal after goal, and you're like, I've got to get on Danny Ings now. He's the player. But as soon as I do, seems to be when he gets injured or goes off the ball, and it's like.
And Ings he seemed to be another one like Maddison. Once he did get an injury, it really slowed his sort of progress or his recovery. He'd spend like a month getting backed up to speed. Then he'd have 2 or 3 good games, and then another niggle would kick in, and you'd lose him for a bit longer. And yeah,
I had Danny Ings 4 times this season. Put him in and took him out as four times. And he actually did all right for me because I got him before. I got him quite early on in the season. I think he scored against Tottenham, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah.
So he got me about 10 points that week. So he did get me some points, but then as soon as he got injured, I was taking him out. But then when he came back, I'd put him in again, and he'd score. So
yeah, I wish I had that luck.
You can get him in like just a week late every time.
Yeah, it's just not happened. Me and Danny Ings, we're not in sync.
But if they drop his price from 8.5 to say 8 or 7.5 next season, your head might be turned.
I'm not worried now. I'll probably get him in again at some point because I'll probably fall for it again. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it'll pay off next time.
Yeah, I think so.
Annoying.
I mean, we have no idea. Danny Ings could end up realistically at Arsenal if Lacazette doesn't stay.
Maybe.
They'll have to afford him. They'll probably want about 30 million for him.
And that's my only concern. They'll want 30 million from him. He's 29. He's not going to play as many games as Kane can play.
No, he's not going to. If you replace Kane for Danny Ings, it's not going to work out, is it? You're going to need someone else to back him up.
Yeah, that Kane money, you're definitely going to need 2 strikers because we're still in like a European competition now.
Mm-hmm.
Danny and Tammy Abraham.
I mean, Abraham would be the worst pick in the world, but Chelsea would pull our arsehole out to buy him. They'd charge us like 50 million.
Yeah, they probably would.
Well, they should sell Kane to them.
I don't think so. The rumour is now that Chelsea and Man City are both their number 1 choice is Haaland. So whichever one doesn't get Haaland will then reluctantly come back and go, all right, can we have Kane now? But it's too late in the summer by then. It's really weird what's going to happen because Kane wants his future sorted out before the Euro starts, but the Euro starts in like 2 weeks.
That's not going to happen, is it?
I don't think it's going to happen.
No way. Not a chance in hell.
Haaland's transfer is not going to be wrapped up by then. Tottenham are meant to be bringing in their new manager in the next 10 days. I mean, Arsenal, everyone, most of their players have just been sent on holiday, haven't they? So there's no one whose agent's going to phone up and go, yeah, all right. I know you got the Euros in a couple of days, but do you want to sign for X player, X club, come down and negotiate? No, I'm on holiday.
Yep.
I've just played like 16 months of non-stop football due to COVID. So, I think it's a pipe dream that any of this is going to get done early, and I think there's going to be a mad mad rush at the end. I think it could be for everyone. I mean, because Arsenal could be in for Tammy Abraham on loan.
Maybe.
Mm. Yeah, I think the amount of chances that Werner missed. I think I think it was match of the day. They showed Chelsea's top scorers. Jorginho was the top scorer, 7
penalties.
Then it was Werner. Then it was Havertz, I think, or someone like that. Mount might be Mount. Tammy Abraham was fourth on the list, and he'd only played like 10 games, and he scored 6 goals for him.
Yeah, I mean, it was mad.
I think one of the things they said on Match of the Day last night, McGoldrick scored more goals than Chelsea's top scorer. I think he got 8 or 9. So yeah,
if they'd just stuck with Tammy Abraham, I think they would have scored a lot more goals. And just played Werner on the left and just Tammy Abraham or Giroud through the middle. I think they would have, but they just kept chopping and changing with Werner and Ziyech and Pulisic. It's just too many players.
I guess because they bought him, they wanted to try and fit him in.
It just didn't work.
Well, yeah, I mean, I assume Giroud will leave now in the summer.
He's going abroad, I think. Somewhere.
But I can't see Abraham hanging around.
No.
And I think Chelsea are going to make a serious push for Haaland because they want an out-and-out striker. Haaland got like 41 goals in 42 games. So he'd be the sort of striker they'd want. Someone who's good for the next decade, like Drogba. That's who they've been looking for ever since. So that's what I said. I don't see all of these striker things being tied up that soon. Not a lot of clubs have got money, so they're going to have to negotiate longer payment periods, etc. And there could be, realistically, we could be going, I think the window's extended as well because the Euros, so it might be like the old days where a couple of games are going to be played before the window shuts. So we could be sitting here with our game week 1 team and going, yeah, it looks okay, but I've seriously got my eye on game week 3 when I can get Haaland in for Chelsea. I'm keeping some money in my back pocket. So
who knows?
It's gonna be an interesting one. I mean, we're gonna have all that. We're gonna have the Euros. As much as we're all saying, "Oh yeah, it'd be nice to have the break," I don't think we're technically having a break. I just think we're just not picking a team.
I don't feel we're having it worth. There's definitely not going to be a break from football, is there? Really?
There's not a break from football. There's not going to be a break from the.
Mm-hmm. That's straight. Yeah.
So we're going to be sitting there going, come on. Oh, geez, start the season again.
Yep. Before we know, we'll be picking our teams for next year. So.
Yep. Before you know it, you'll be laughing at me for having Calvert-Lewin game week 1 again because he's just had a bad end to the season.
Yeah, probably. And I guess we'll be doing our league predictions, which I guess we could do quickly.
Yeah, it's a good segue onto.
Yeah.
As we decided to reset this.
Oh, God.
It didn't go well.
Oh, my God. I got 1.
Yeah, 1! Woo!
Jesus.
I know. We all got Man City.
Oh, and I got Brighton because I always know Brighton finished 16th.
Yeah,
and right at depth because of their return to form, Newcastle United, you beauties.
You've been slagging Newcastle off the whole.
They're shit. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't put them where they put them because they had Callum Wilson. I mean, look who I put below them for Christ's sake. I put Sheffield United.
You put both me and you put West Ham in the bottom 3 as well.
Well, that's because they imploded and Mark Noble said that the management was shit for selling Diangana.
Yep. And then where'd they finish? 6th.
Yeah, they finished above Tottenham and Arsenal.
Yeah.
That was funny. You put Arsenal 4th. So did Gaz.
Yeah, you put Tottenham 4th.
At least Tottenham were closer. We were only 4 points from 4th.
Not by much.
Yeah. God, a lot of us put Wolves in a really, really high place, didn't we?
Yep.
They finished like 12th, 13th in the end.
Yeah, they were so good, but yeah. Yeah, I should have put the
Oh,
positions over there on the right hand side, but
I'm pleased with that. So I won.
yeah, looks like you did.
So it's 1-0 me.
I guess.
This is how it
Yes.
played last time. I think I won it the first time round, then you won it, and then there was a draw somewhere.
Seeing as we can't remember who won the last
No,
few, and I probably had them all on file, but I've lost it. So
that's a shame.
we start again.
Start again. Well, let me tell you, Brighton are going to be 16th in my position because they have been every time we've done this, and they've always come in.
I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna note that down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brighton 16th,
Brigton 16th.
Brigton Hoven,
Perfect.
and
I've got my starting point for next year.
there you go.
Man City
That's all.
top, Brigton 16th, and then we'll work
I
around
mean, you're
that.
laughing, but that's literally what I did. I had a piece of paper and I put Brighton 16th, and then I worked around that.
Yeah.
And that's why I've got some kind of awkward places where I've got Palace and Burnley quite high up.
I'm definitely going to keep an eye on what happens at Palace during the summer, because I could see them maybe going down next year.
I mean, they would see no odds on favour, right? 11 plus players out of contract, no manager.
Yeah.
I think Southampton will struggle as well next season.
If they don't buy players, I mean, if it depends though. If they sell Ings for 30 million and then reinvest it wisely, because there are good players that can be bought, as we've seen now from the Championship. I mean, Ollie Watkins has gone from being a Championship player that Tottenham, West Ham, and quite a lot of other Premier League clubs didn't think would make the grade to a full in England international, and he's got like 15, 16 Premier League goals. So I think we're going to see teams buying a lot smarter or selling their key player to bring in 2 or 3 really, really good players to push their teams on. I mean, it might happen with Leicester. They might sell Tielemans, but I can see it happening to a couple of other clubs. Definitely. I mean, Arsenal might cash in on Lacazette. Tottenham obviously got the Kane scenario. If it's not Kane, then we're definitely selling some others. Allegedly, Dele Alli, the only reason we've played him for the last few weeks is because we wanted to put him in the shop window. So all of that hard work, and we're like, well, anyway, cheers, son, we're selling you.
Is that why they got him to do his hair?
No, he just done his hair. I like his hair. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, it's all right. Actually, yeah. When I was younger, I wanted my hair like that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but there you go.
Huh? Yeah.
Rude Hullet. I always remember Kobe Jones, the old USA midfielder. I loved Kobe Jones. I think he's like the most capped player for the United States, or he was. He had like 167 caps, something stupid. I just loved Kobe Jones because he played for Coventry as well, I think. And yeah. But yeah, I think there'll be a lot more that we'll reconsider. We might reconsider Burnley being a lot lower in all our predictions next year because their defence is nowhere near as robust as it used to be. And if Nick Pope leaves,
well, they got like new owners or something, so they might get some money. But
the new owners have promised Daesh a war chest, which is fine, but you still have to convince players to join Burnley, right?
Yeah,
and that's not being disrespectful. That's just, they haven't brought in any sort of top outside foreign names in quite some time. They brought Stephen Defoe in, who was great, but only for one season. And then obviously promoted teams. Who do you think will survive? I think Norwich might yo-yo again and go back down again. Watford, I don't know. Watford, I could see going down again, possibly. The only ones that I think that if they came up would survive would be Brentford. And I think Brentford could be like our Leeds next season.
Possibly, yeah.
Because they play really attacking football. They got some quality players.
I think Norwich could do alright though, because they kept their manager. If they obviously got the experience of having a season here or in the Premier League, I
I'm
think
not
they
ruling them
could,
out. I mean, last time Norwich they started great, didn't they? Last season.
it'd be tight. They'd be like 17th or 15th, but
Yeah, I think they've learned their lesson. They know where they're going to have to buy players to be effective this time round. Last season, I think they just turned a lot of their loan deals into permanents, and those players just weren't good enough.
Mm.
You know, that's always the sort of trap you fall into, isn't it?
yeah.
Sometimes you just need to bring in one or two solid loans, and then sometimes one or two just absolutely outstanding players. Like Leeds bought in, they bought in Llorente, didn't they? And they bought Koch. Although they really wanted Ben White, didn't they?
Mm.
So, yeah, we'll see, I guess. But I can't believe it. I won. I mean, not by a landslide.
No. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
And amazingly, you got Newcastle in the same place as well,
Yeah.
Russ.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Always put Newcastle 12th.
Yeah. I mean, they're never in the top half.
No.
I had them
Right.
10th.
There you go. Gaz had them 10th. That's just too audacious.
They were 10th the season before with Benitez.
Yeah, that's Benitez. This is Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce gets all wound up towards the end of the season because they call him shit. So then he takes the shackles off, and then they get quite a few wins and points, and then they finish 12th. But Brighton, always 16th every season.
Yeah. Leeds, I was annoyingly close with Leeds, 10th, and they came 9th.
Mm.
I mean,
I think we all laughed at you when you put Leeds 10th.
you had them 17th, Mike.
Well, I said to you, I didn't think they would start very well because they had a really bad start. They had Liverpool, Man City, they had played Fulham. I said to you, the first two games they played, Liverpool and Fulham, they conceded 7 goals. I watched them play Man United and lose, what was it, 6-1, 6-2?
Yeah, something like that.
Leeds conceded goals for absolute fun. And so there's no reason that they should have been that high, but it's just that their attacking output outdid what they were conceding.
Yeah. Plus,
And then
they've learned
towards
to
the
defend
end,
now.
yeah, towards the end, Bielsa finally got a bit more, I guess, I don't want to use the word pragmatic because it fucks me off, but he got, you know, he started to see where teams were exploiting his team. So he started to shore up the thing. Calvin Phillips come back from injury as well, which was a major one for Leeds.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, lesson learned. I'll probably put them 10th next season, Leeds, and they'll be in second season syndrome relegation.
Probably, yeah. It's always the way.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. I suppose we so much better wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah.
We're over 3 hours, so this is a long one. So if someone's got this far, well done.
I had a feeling it would be a long one, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to put some tabs in or something.
Huh?
We'll have to put some tabs telling people what bits are what.
That's a good idea.
Timestamps, that's the word I'm thinking of.
Timestamps, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, as you won this, Mike, and as you won the league,
Oh,
you can,
God, I won everything.
You can
apart from predictions.
You can sign us off for the season.
Oh, anyway, okay. Well, on that note, thanks for listening. If you've managed to do this 3 hours, I mean, you probably like the Snyder cut of Justice League. You probably had to watch this in like 7 chunks. So maybe we'll put parts in as well. Part 1, part 2, part 3. Call one of them Gaz's Revenge or something when he talks about Schmeichel, and then I get lost like an old man in the middle of the conversation. But thanks for listening. We're going to do it all again next year. We're going to keep doing it. I think we're getting some enjoyment out of it. And we're doing quite well now. And let us know if you think there's anything we did right or wrong, if you agree with any of our picks for our teams. Have a wonderful summer. Enjoy the Euros. And we shall see you again in a couple of weeks.
Bye-bye.